Welcome to No Fugazee Podcast. I am your host, Cooley. Tonight we have some reactions for you guys. Let's get into it. And y'all see the suit too, man. Listen, new studio, new podcast by the spirit, not by the letter. Bro, we can go verse for verse all day long. Doing new things. Men are okay with understanding the reality that we are in competition with one another. But you ladies think that you're special. You are in comfort. Men are men of their word. So here's my word. I'll fly you out here and we can do it in person. And after that, we could box. I'm about my business. So remember I said, when I ask you these questions, I will dismantle your entire argument. That's the end of the debate, my dog.
I'm 39, but I don't look your typical 39.
Belly.
Yeah.
You look 39. It's okay though. That man isn't intimidated by a woman like you. He's annoyed by a woman like you. Because a man doesn't want to date another man. He wants to date a woman. All right, ladies and gents, we are back. We are currently live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm sorry, not Instagram, TikTok and Facebook and YouTube. When you come on in, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click the bell icon so you are notified when we go live next. And like the podcast as well. We got a few links in the YouTube description. The first link is going to be for the members. If you like this podcast, you want to support the show, become a member, man. That's one of the best ways to support. We got 3 tiers. First tier is gang. Second tier is hitman. Third tier is mob ties. You join any of those tiers, you are locked in with us. You know, the membership, man, we got something special over here, man. So sign up for the membership, man. The next link in the YouTube description is going to be for one-on-one consultations. If you want to book a consultation with me and speak about dating and relationships, media and marketing, stuff like that, hit me up, man. I got you. The other link in there is going to be for the Clips channel. We post clips on there daily, so subscribe to the Clips channel. Currently, we are at 10,000 subscribers on the Clips channel. We are trying to reach 50,000 by the end of the year. I think we can do it. And then all of the other links is in the YouTube description is going to be for the social media platforms. So we got the X account, the Facebook, the Instagram, the TikTok. If you want to get in touch with myself or anyone from my team, go ahead and hit us up on social media. All right, so we got a few things in store for you guys today. We will be reacting to Dame Dash on the Breakfast Club. Him and Charlamagne went back and forth at it. It was funny conversation, to say the least. If you see the title of the thumbnail, it says War on Masculinity. So we're going to speak about that a lot today because on the Breakfast Club interview, Dame Dash is calling Charlamagne feminine. So we're going to get into all of that stuff. It's going to be some good conversations. Then we're also going to react to Tucker Carlson. He had a debate on Piers Morgan, which I think was really good. I was supposed to react to this last week, but you know, the whole thing with Charlie Kirk went on and I was reacting to more stuff like that. So I really couldn't get into these debates that I wanted to react to and that you guys were asking for. So we are going to react to a little bit of that debate on Piers Morgan with Tucker Carlson. We also are going to get into Ben Shapiro. He actually appeared on the Breakfast Club. And he got into a back and forth and a debate with Charlamagne on abortion and some other topics as well, which I think is going to be good for you guys, especially the people that like to watch debate content, or if you just want to, you know, hear some intellectual conversations and stuff like that. Tonight is that podcast, man. We're going to have some good conversations. I'm going to play some good clips for you guys. Right before we get into that, though, we are going to honor the members. The members did send me some clips, so I am going to react to some clips that the members sent me. It's only right. Since you guys sign up for that monthly tier and pay monthly, I will go ahead and prioritize you guys first by reacting to the clips that you want. All right, so when you come and get the likes up, man, everybody that's in, you should be liking a podcast. That's what you should be doing. Do not be a ninja watcher. The like is free, man. It is literally free. All right, so here's the first clip. Let's hop right into it. These clips are going to be for the members, and then we're going to hop into the Dame Dash Breakfast Club interview, which is you guys are going to like that one. But okay, let's get into the first clip. All right, so the first clip we got here is going to be from the YouTube members. Looks like Jimmy Kimmel looks like he was fired indefinitely from ABC due to his comments about Charlie Kirk. Now, let's go ahead and play this and see what he's talking about here.
In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. Okay. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. There's demolition.
And real quick, in regards to Jimmy Kimmel, this is late night television. Who even watches late night television? Who even watches television at all today? I think that television has definitely died down a whole lot since streaming platforms became a big thing, like YouTube, Kick, Rumble, all of these different streaming platforms. You got Netflix, you got Apple TV, you got Hulu, you got all of these, other streaming platforms where you can watch like a television show like a Jimmy Kimmel with some comedy, which his comedy is trash. He was never funny. The things that I know about him and that I seen is he's always crying. And once again, when we speak about the war on masculinity, it's actually funny that this is a clip that I didn't have planned. This actually just came out and one of the members sent it to me and said, "Hey, Cooley, let's get a reaction on this." And it's funny because he is the most feminine man on national television. Heterosexual feminine male. You know what I'm saying? He says that he's heterosexual, but he's very, very feminine. Of course, we got Don Lemon, which is actually a homosexual that's extremely feminine. But this man is a self-proclaimed heterosexual, but always cries. And always just looks like his eyes is watery and he's always whining and he's just a beta, right? Just a beta. And this is what they put on the forefront of national television. Let me see how long Jimmy Kimmel's show been even on air. Like, how long was Jimmy Kimmel's show on air? Let's see. Had to been for a long time. Oh, man. Yeah, over 20 years. Over 20 years it's been on air. And that's crazy. So for 20 years, late night television, the Jimmy Kimmel Live, the late night talk show, premiered in 2003. But it was just suspended indefinitely in 2025. And you know what? This show is just, to me, honestly, it was never good. I'm not sure if you guys watched it, but you guys are pretty based over here. I don't think you guys were watching Jimmy Kimmel. And it comes on late night television too. Old people ain't even checking for him. Old people go to sleep late. Young people definitely not checking for him. So young people, old people, nobody's checking for him. How was he on television for this long, right? That doesn't even make any sense. Let's check his net worth because he was just fired indefinitely. Jimmy Kimmel's net worth. Let's see how much he was making. Because I don't think he has a YouTube channel. I'm sure he got some property and stuff and some investments. So, he's good. But let's see. Jimmy Kimmel's net worth. All right, so Jimmy Kimmel's salary is estimated to be $16 million per year, making him one of the highest paid television hosts. This figure is based on recent estimates from Forbes, placing him in a similar salary range to other major late night hosts. So, you can't always trust Forbes anyway. But let's just say if this is a trusted source, is 16 million, right? It would have to be somewhere around there, 12 million, 20 million. It's around that range, right? So it could be a little bit less, a little bit more. But yeah, man, $16 million a year. How, Sway? How is he making this much money on late night television and a beta, a simp? No one watches him. No one is checking for him. His jokes is trash. And even with what we just watched, the correlation of the joke that he tried to make in regards to the news reporter asking Trump about, how's things going, at these times. They're insinuating these times of, since Charlie Kirk just passed, how things going, and Trump is, speaking about, well, things are going good. We're building stuff and da-da-da-da. But yeah, they didn't ask him specifically about Charlie Kirk. So that's the one thing. And he tried to make a little skit about that, which is, not even funny. But it seems like this is one of the pieces where he lost his job. But let's continue to watch a little bit more and see what else we unpack.
Construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay? And it didn't just happen once. In between the finger point.
Yeah, so this is the clip. So pretty much he's making fun of Trump mourning the way he's mourning his friend Charlie Kirk, which was one of the main figureheads that, galvanized the youth, motivated the youth, and got the youth to vote for Trump. One of the main reasons why Trump was, reelected was because of Charlie Kirk. One of the main reasons. So, and, it's just distasteful. It wasn't funny. And, he's never funny anyway. So not even this. Forget about this. He's never funny. I've never heard him say a funny thing out of his mouth. The only thing I heard him do out of his mouth that was funny was, and I'm laughing. I would laugh at that because I see a grown man crying on national television. That's the funniest thing he ever did. That's funny. When a grown man is crying on national television, he'll cry about the most dumbest things sometimes. It's just dumb. Just dumb. And he's always fake virtue signaling. Always. But anyways, I'll digress. That's my take on Jimmy Kimmel losing his job, indefinitely at ABC. And you know what? My other take on this would be when it comes to, some people like to say, well, you gotta be aware of your surroundings and read the room and know when it's time to make a joke and know when it's time to say this or when it's not time to say that. At the end of the day, when we're speaking about free speech, free speech, we're supposed to have free speech, right? But when these corporations own you, when you're working for them, even on YouTube, and free speech is not really a thing because they can fire you. So free meaning, yeah, you can say what you want, but consequences from what you say can definitely impact you and impact your life. So it's a few ways that you can move. You can move and say, man, I don't care about these corporations. I don't care about being fired, and really speak what you think, right? Which here on No Fugazee, we do that. We do that here on No Fugazee. There's just certain things about myself that I just don't speak about because maybe I don't know enough about it. So I only speak about the things that I know about. So, and then I don't cuss. So don't really got to do too much editing. But yeah, man, essentially what I'm saying here is, we see it even on the left when the left was, coming after people for their speech. If you're maybe talking about BLM or, George Floyd, or you say the N-word when you're rapping a song. If you're a white person and you say that N-word while rapping a song, you can get fired if it goes on social media because your corporation, the company that you work for, seen it. So, we say we live in a free speech country, but truthfully, there's always consequences. So the word free is not necessarily free. That's like a construct of the mind. That's all it is. Free speech is a construct of the mind. And I say that to say it can only truly be free if we have something in place where even the government can't do anything due to what you say, but also we have something in place where there's laws in place where companies can't fire you based off what you say. But then we got to think about there's always a limit to what you say, because you can incite a riot, you can try to incite a war, you can try to, do a lot of things that can be damaging, because influence creates thinking and thinking creates behavior. So with that even said, it doesn't even make sense for it to fully be free, since we know, my mantra to be true. So, yeah. But anyways, let's move on to the next clip. Get the likes up, everybody. Get the likes up. Do not be a ninja watcher. We got a good show in place for you guys today. All right. Next clip. See what we got here. Once again, we are currently just reacting to some of the stuff that the mods sent me. Then we're going to get right into the Dame Dash versus Charlamagne on the Breakfast Club. You guys should be very interested in that one. It was funny. Okay, so what is this? What the members sent me? This is interesting. So this says here that divorces across Kentucky are down 25% after a new law set the standard to 50-50 custody if you have children together, limiting child support. Wow. I don't know if this is true. Someone sent this to me. If one of you guys can verify it in a chat, but it seems like it could be true. So let me read here the side panel. It says, Kentucky shared 50-50 custody to 50-50 linked to 25% drop in divorces. In 2017, divorced fathers across Kentucky began rallying against what they believed was an unfair custody system that too often left them as Disneyland dads. Wow. Seeing their children only on weekends while mothers carried the bulk of parenting. For many, including Rob Holdsworth, who moved from Ohio to Kentucky just to remain near his son. The system felt both emotionally devastating and legally unbalanced. Their efforts paid off. In 2018, Kentucky became the first state to pass a law making 50-50 shared custody the default arrangement in divorce and separation cases. The groundbreaking legislation significantly limited the need for child support and reshaped the way families navigated post-divorce parenting. All right, so this does seem to be accurate. Maybe got to check out another source as well. So looks like in Kentucky, man, some fathers, some men, they got fed up and they started making some noise, and it looks like some changes were made. So if you do divorce in Kentucky, it's a standard that the child is 50% with the woman and 50% with the man. So this does drastically limit child support. But it's funny, right? It's funny because how can this be the cause of less divorces? If this is the cause of less divorces, this means that one of the reasons why women was divorcing the man was to weaponize the child against the man to get his money and child support? That sounds about right, David. That sounds brilliant, David. It's smart guy. So it's crazy because I have these, I debate many feminists. I do a dating show with, 4 to 8 girls, interviewed over 700, had over 700 women on my podcast, and they don't seem to understand facts and how their behaviors and their motivations is a lot around money when it comes to the divorce, right? Either to divorcing a man because he doesn't have enough money, lost his job, or divorcing a man because, you know, she's not really into him and he's making money. So she's like, I can do better. So I know if I divorce him, I'll get half. I'll get my kids. So yeah, I don't need to be with this man. I'm protected by the government. But it looks like in Kentucky, man, some good men got together and made some changes within that law to benefit them in the long run. And not to just benefit the man, it's truly to benefit the children. And to benefit the nuclear family, because if divorces went down 25%, then obviously families are staying together. They're working it out, right? And this also tells you something about women's nature. They just have this nature in them where they're ruthless. They can be ruthless sometimes, man. Ruthless to the point where they just want to dry you clean. They want to take you to the cleaners and, you know, what's the saying go? How does the saying go? Nothing like a scorned woman. Something scorned women and how they treat you and how they're evil when she's scorned and she's emotionally distraught, whatever it may be, right? But yeah, man, women do have a side to them where one of the motivators is money. And it's funny when you incentivize marriages to stay together, where you decentivize the woman for, you know, leaving the man, decentivizing them would be, you know, it's 50-50 custody now. You don't have 100% custody. And guess what? This is mandatory. So it's a standard, like it's a standard of 50-50 custody. So you ain't even got to go to court. It's already 50-50. Little Billy is with me 50% of the time. He with you. So whatever type of child support you trying to go for, it ain't really going to work like that for you, right? Because we both got the child. And since that's the play, they're like, well, what's the benefit to really divorce the man? So they stay with the man. But when we incentivize women to leave the man, they'll look at, well, there's so many benefits to leave the man when their emotions aren't really involved with the man, right? So they end up staying. This is good. I'm actually going to bring this stat up on one of my next Saturday, the Full Panel Girls Show. I'm going to bring this up and see what the women think about this on the show. This should be funny. All right, let's get to the next clip. This wasn't a video. I guess this was just a little news article. So whoever sent that in, appreciate you. All right, so this is still the Jimmy Kimmel one. All right, so ABC, yep, we already reviewed this. Let's get to the next one. All right, what's this?
Trans woman. Why don't we let her answer?
I'm also transgender.
I know.
Okay. Go ahead.
Are you which trans are you, if you don't mind me
I'm
asking?
non-binary.
What does that mean?
I'm a non-binary person. I use they, them person.
So
Sorry, are we going to spend... do we really want to spend the rest of this discussing my personal...
You're the one who mentioned it. I didn't even know.
Well, now you know.
She's so triggered. He just... you know, Piers just asked her, and I'm going to be honest, not a huge fan of Piers and his tactics of interviewing people. He can definitely be a slippery, slimy snake at times. But if there's one thing that I agree with Piers on, it is the whole woke thing, the left woke thing in regards to the transgenderism movement and the transgender ideology and stuff like that. These are the, you know, common sense things that I think that he has and we can definitely agree on. But it's funny, he asked her a question. Well, oh, you're a trans person. How are you trans? And she says, I'm not non-binary. He's like, well, what do you mean? I'm non-binary. I'm they, them. Well, they, them? What do you mean they, them? I only see one of you. And this is something that's demonic. Even when you look in biblical scriptures, demons refer to themselves as they and them, right? Told you guys, man, it's going to be a little bit of educational conversations today. And let's continue on. This is interesting.
Okay, so now I know. I'm just asking you what that means.
Like, do you really want to discuss this?
You raised the subject of yourself being trans. I'm simply asking
Can
what
I
does
finish
that...
my point?
No, wait
It's
one
always
second,
a non-binary
wait 1 second.
person
It's actually really
over a
interesting.
transsexual.
It's really interesting to me. You raised it, not me. I didn't even know. So now you've raised it. What does that actually mean? What do you mean you're non-binary?
Are you really, really just going to...
Can you explain?
Hey, listen, chick, answer the question. Are you really, really... Like, it's so funny because even when I have my debates, when you catch people in a lie or you catch them in some type of logical contradiction or something where they're like caught and their clothes are, essentially off. They're naked. We can see you, the real you. They try to always deflect and never really want to answer the question. And everything is so indirect as well. He's asking her a specific question and she's not answering at all. Well, what do you mean by non-binary? I refer to they, them. Well, what is that? How is this trans? Right? The chick above Piers, she says that, well, that's a he's trans. But this chick below is an actual female. And let's see.
Are you going to cut Blair off now?
I'm just asking you to explain. I'll come back to Blair in a moment.
Well, you were the one that cut me off, sis. But I will say that...
Hang on one second, Blair. Sorry, Blair, wait 1 second.
Yeah, that's a man. Above Piers is a man. That's a transformer. Transformers. That's Optimus Prime in them. That's Prime in them. Nah, matter of fact, that ain't the Prime. That's the Decepticons, right? She's a full, jacking me up. He, she, matter of fact, this person up top should be calling themselves they, them. Not her. He, she, man, woman hater club. What's going on here? This is a Decepticon right above. Let's continue on.
I just want to ask, what do you mean by non-binary?
When I say I'm non-binary, I'm expressing my identity in a way that I have a right to do. I'm sorry?
Oh, that is just dumb. She says, when I say I'm non-binary, I'm expressing my identity in a way that I have the right to do. This does not explain what non-binary is.
What's your sexuality?
My sexuality. Yes. This doesn't have anything to do with my
sexuality.
Actually,
the UK government now says that people are male or female. The British Prime Minister says people are male or female.
I don't think the UK government should have the final say on how I express myself.
Well, they determine the laws of the country.
Treated.
I'm just curious what you mean by non-binary. What does that mean?
I'm curious.
Bro, what is going on here? He asked her, well, you're male or female? She said, wait, what? That my sexuality has nothing to... No, it's only male or female. She says, how can the British government tell me what I identify as? Well, chick, are you an alien? Like, if you ain't, are you human? If you're human, it's only male or female. Well, I would say out of all the species on the planet and even animals, there's only male and female. What the freak is going on with this individual? This is crazy. This is demonic, chat.
Well, firstly...
What are your pronouns?
They, them.
What does that mean? There's only one of you.
What does they, them... actually, they, them has been
and look, she's about to try to justify it. I know this because I debated trans people. They're going to try to justify to that. And I already know what she's going to say. Never seen this clip before. She's most likely going to say they, them used to be referred as singular. You can use it in a singular way and refer to yourself as they and them. I'm sure she's going to say this, and it's easily debunked when you just look it up. She's a liar.
Collective they has been used to refer to individual people for centuries and still is.
What I tell you, chat? What I tell you? She's a liar. This is lying. Even in a biblical text, which is thousands of years old, they make a clear distinction between singular and plural. They never refer to one singular person as a they or a them. The only entity and the only, place where it's in a Bible where it's a single person, well, not even a person, but it's devils, demons. The demons refer to themselves as they, them. This is why it's demonic. That's what she should have just said. She should have just said, "Wait, listen. Well, actually, in biblical texts, the demons refer to themselves as they, them. Is individual, but they refer to themselves as they, them. So I could refer to myself as they, them because I am a demon." That's what she should have just said. And we would have been like, okay, well, thank you for admitting you are a demon. And sprinkle the holy water on her. And do a whole lot of other things to get that demon up out of her. But yeah, man, this is crazy. Let's see what else going on here.
So, I mean, if you don't understand basic grammar, that's on you. But I think you do.
Basic grammar. What, chick? You trying to gaslight us right now?
I don't understand. I've got to be honest with you. I don't understand the concept of what non-binary means, or why you would use a plural pronoun to describe a singular person. That makes sense. To me, this is the problem with the whole woke thing. Is that it's inexplicable. Nobody really knows what it means. I don't know what you mean by non-binary, they, them. There's one of you sitting here, and you look to me female. You're a female?
Okay.
Are you a female?
If you don't understand what non-binary means...
Are you a female?
If you don't understand what non-binary means...
I don't.
Then I'm not...
You didn't explain it.
Debate.
You dumb chick. You never truly explained. So I got into a debate earlier, and when I first started doing... it was my first time. I think it was my second episode on a podcast that I've ever did. It was a woman that came on. She said she was non-binary, and she explained it. She was like, well, yeah, I'm non-binary, like, meaning that I have, certain tendencies that can be related to men. Like I could take on like more of a personality that is of a man, and I can take on more of like, the interest in the personality types as more of a woman. Like sometimes I'll wake up and I'll feel like, I kind of want to be more tomboyish, and I kind of want to maybe assert myself and, take off the makeup, take off the nails, and, put on some jean shorts and some sneakers. And I'm like, okay. And then she's saying like same thing. I may wake up the next day and, feel like I want to be a female and dress up like that. And I'm like, so, but like sexually, you're only into men. Yeah, I'm only into men. Okay, so you're not homosexual. No, I'm not homosexual. This is what she said. So then I'm like, okay, so essentially you suffer from schizophrenia. You're schizophrenic. You have different personality types. There's more than one people in you. She's like, no, it's just me. I'm like, okay, cool. Oh, okay. Well, you're just giving yourself a title of non-binary, but really you are confused. You don't know who you want to be. You don't know who you are. So you wake up one day and you feel like you're a man. The next day you wake up, you feel like you're a woman. You're not transgender though. Like you're not changing your sex. No, I'm not changing my sex, but just my personality type. Okay, so just different personalities. And even when we're speaking about this dumb woman over here, there's only male and female. There's only two sexes. And even when these non-binary people refer to things on how they feel when they wake up, they can only refer to two things, male or female, a man or a woman. So it's just dumb. They're dumb. They're confused. They need Jesus. They need help.
So just tell me. Tell me.
But if you can't explain it in simple language, then
what is it?
What's the point?
Well, explain what
I could tell you exactly what being a transsexual is. It means that
my gender identity is something other than man or woman. I'm a non-binary individual.
But you accept your...
That is it's something other than man or woman. They can't explain anything other than man or woman, because the thing is, when it comes to logic and the law of identity, which is one of the laws of logic, the law of identity, what you are identifying as, if you are identifying as what you are is a woman, that's a woman there, right? She can never know what it truly feels like to identify as a man, because she is not a man, she is a woman. So therefore, with her saying that, well, I'm non-binary, it's not man or woman, well, the only thing that she knows would be of a woman. Anything else, if she tries to act or speak like a man, this isn't the actual identity of a man. You get it? It's only man or woman. So it's just stupid. It's nonsensical. This is why they can't explain it, because even when they try to think about it from a logical perspective, in a logical way, it's like, I just go off based off how I feel. Well, you are a woman. You are a female, right? XX chromosome. That is your identity. You know nothing about what a man is. Nothing about. You can see, you can listen, and you can try to put on a costume to portray yourself from what you've observed, but your identity will always be what you are, which is a woman.
Or a female.
I don't think that I'm here to discuss the contents of my
You raised
that's
this whole
appropriate.
thing. I didn't mention anything about what you were.
And that's their other tactic. They're like, when you ask them, are you a male or female? I don't think it's appropriate for me to discuss what's under my clothes. You know, what utensils I have under my clothes. No, we can tell, chick, you are a female. And that thing above, Piers, is a male.
You did. You said, I'm trans.
This has really become uncomfortably personal.
Has it? You said it, not me.
And then, then they always try to go to, it's uncomfortable. And they want to, since they can't answer certain questions, they just say that, you're pressuring me. It's uncomfortable. They're so sensitive all of a sudden. Like, wow, wait. Why don't you, since you're non-binary and you can flip-flop, if you're sensitive right now, we'll give you 30 seconds. Why don't you identify as a man, which is, he's not as sensitive, and answer the question. Men speak direct. You've had some practice with observing men. So I think that maybe you built up a skill to be a little bit more direct. But no, she acts like she's acting exactly like who she is. A crazy chick. All right, next clip. And I think we got a few more here. Then we're going to go ahead and get into the main reactions for tonight. All right, so what's this? A college student was arrested and expelled for mocking the death of Charlie Kirk. F yo homie, he dead. Dang, that's wild. Okay, man, and it got to be a black chick. Look at this. Let's go ahead and see what we got here.
Fuck your homie dead! He got shot in the head! Fuck your homie dead! Yeah, fuck your homie dead!
Evil is real, people, and it kind of looks like that. Yeah. Evil. Evil. Murder is bad. She is evil. Have not said.
And the funny thing is, with him saying, evil is real, people, and it kind of looks like that, the sensitive black people would be like, he's a racist. He's calling her evil just because she's black. I know there's some sensitive black people in the chat right now, possibly. And you probably thought that, that's a racist white man. Look at that Trump hat he has on. Yeah. Supporter of Charlie Kirk. Yeah, he's racist. Yeah. No, he's just pointing out the obvious that, any woman that's acting reckless like she is and ratchet and wishing death to a man and all of this other stuff, saying F yo homie dead, he got shot in the head, trying to rhyme and do almost a rap song about, someone that just passed away. That's evil. That would be evil. And I would say the same thing. Evil looks like her. Let's continue on.
Why are you being so hateful?
Why are you so hateful? Why are you so hateful? Why are you so hateful? Yeah.
Hey, can somebody tell her to back up?
Can you not put the camera in my face?
I'm sitting here. You walked up to me.
So here's the thing. She walks up to him, right? And this is aggressive behavior. And she's pointing her phone and hand in his face and stuff like that. You can't get in someone's face like that. And say if he would have just, pushed her back. I would say that, you kind of got the right to push someone if they get all up in your face like that. But he didn't do any of that. And she comes up and she's trying to play the victim, right? She says, you're evil. You're evil. Remember when, Charlie, we heard the news last week when Charlie Kirk first passed away, I said, we are in a moral war. It's moral warfare. The things that this woman think is evil, we actually think is good. The things that we think are evil, she actually think is good. So it's a moral war. The things that they believe is good and bad, we believe the total opposite. So it's an inversion that was created because of psychotic people on the left. And it's not just only on the left. The right isn't, saints either. There's some psychos on the right as well. But at the end of the day, when we're speaking about this, when we're reviewing this conversation, it's like, they're clearly speaking past one another because she viewed Charlie Kirk as evil. So the simple fact that he has a poster, mourning Charlie Kirk's death, which that's someone that she thinks is evil, then she thinks that he's evil too, the person that's holding that poster. So, it's kind of like Hitler, right? Hitler, you would say that Hitler is an evil person. And since Charlie Kirk was, called fascist so many times, and basically, him and Trump was called Hitler so many times, it will indoctrinate the immature minds and the susceptible minds to truly think that they're evil, just like how Hitler was evil, right? And this is why she thinks that. So it's a complete psyop. She was fully indoctrinated. Let's continue on.
I don't want this. I said rest in peace. Just leave it alone. Please don't come after me. I want to be left alone.
I'm not emotional, ma'am. Don't tell me what I am and what I'm not. You can get out of my face because I could tell you what you are, but you won't like it.
You're being aggressive. You're being aggressive.
I'm not being aggressive. My voice is very calm. You're calling me aggressive because I'm a black woman.
Not at all.
No, we're not.
It's so funny. I had many, you guys watch my content. I had many women on a podcast that's like her. I wouldn't say many when we're speaking about many. I probably had a good handful, maybe about, a good maybe 15 to 20 women on a show that acts just like her, that I had to kick off, crazy big wildebeest that I had to get rid of because they was ratchet, and they would say things just like her. And I was like, listen, you triggered right now. You're acting very emotional. I need you to calm down. They'll say things, well, I'm not triggered. I'm not emotional. I'm speaking very calm right now. Just because your tone can be, oh, I'm very calm right now, doesn't mean we don't see that you're emotionally triggered, chick. Like, shut up. What are you talking about? And then you were just acting ratchet a second ago, jumping up and down. So this chick is delusional. Let's continue on.
You bring racism? Why are you?
Come on now.
Like racist? I just said I don't want to talk to you.
I just don't want.
Dad, fuck your homie, Dad. He got shot in.
Look, jumping, screaming. Oh, I thought you weren't. I thought you weren't acting ratchet. What happened? Oh, you were definitely acting ratchet.
Fuck your homie, Dad. Yeah, fuck your homie, Dad.
Evil is.
Yeah, man. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. And you can always, tell the type of individuals that wasn't raised with a father. When you're looking at a man or a woman, you can just tell that she came from a single mother home. She just doesn't have a certain level of respect publicly. And she should actually feel some shame, but she doesn't feel any shame for the way she behaved because she wasn't raised with a father that disciplined her the correct way. She was raised with a mother that most likely, disciplined her in a way where it was very emotional. Very emotional. All right, let's get to the next clip. Get the likes up, chat. Don't be a ninja watcher. Let's go, man. I don't got it. Likes are free, man. Let me see where the likes at. Likes are free, man. All right, we had 110 likes. That's good. But we got 240 people in here watching right now. We need 200 likes, man. No, we need all 240. Because even I know it's probably about 40 haters, but you in here watching. You in here chilling, man. You might as well like the show. You in here with me rocking, right? Just like it. You hating anyway, so just like the show. All right. Let's see where the chat's at. I didn't even review any chats yet. I've been streaming for 45 minutes. Let's see if we got any that came in. And it looks like we do. Oh, yeah, we got a lot that came in. So let me get to these real quick, and then I'm going to go ahead and, you know what? Go ahead and review. This is another clip from the members. I'll get to that one probably the next show. Let's get into the Dame Dash and Charlamagne clip next after I get to these super chats. So we got Intel Wild says $5. Salute Cooley. R.I.P. Charlie. R.I.P. Charlie. We got JB joined a member for 7 months. He says, shout out to Cooley and the members here. Man, shout outs to you. Shout outs to you, JB. We got Tyga says $10. These television networks will lose out on millions of dollars a year just to keep these late night shows on air to push the leftist agenda. Case in point, that is true. That is true, man. They gonna lose a whole lot of bread, And the thing is, they still be on air too because it's funded. It's an agenda that's just okay. We know that the funny thing is the left, bro, they're strategic, right? Like they truly look at the right as evil. The right, we'll look at them as evil, but it's like, you know what I mean? We still look at them as human beings and stuff. And generally speaking, right? This is a general statement. And I say all of that to say that, Tyga, you are speaking facts right now, man, because there's a lot of television networks and TV shows that's on air right now, and I don't even know how they're making money, but there's some NGO, some billionaires out there that's just still pushing the propaganda to keep their agenda afloat. We got Wicked Dreams says $20. W Cooley, W Tyga, and The Stash, W Tim M, R.I.P. Charlie Kirk. Let's have a great show, even though we didn't get the emojis we were promised. Did someone say open panel? So I got the emojis. I got all of them, but to get everything in, I just didn't have a lot of time. This is why I started to stream a little bit late today, man. I'm crazy busy, man. If you guys knew what my life was like outside of the podcast, you'll be like, I don't know how you do it. But we gonna get the emojis in. At least I got them all. I, downloaded all the, because how you got to do, you got to download the images, the ones that you want, because you have to create your own. It has to be cropped in a certain way and also in a certain size. You got to do a few things and then upload them, and then they'll become available for you guys. They have certain ones that you can that's already in there that you guys can use, but it isn't the ones that you guys want. But I got you, man. We got Intel Wild sends him $5. Stephen Colbert's show. Yeah, that's what Tyga was saying. Was losing hand over fist, and they were thinking it was Trump that got him out of there. Shaking my head. Can't make this ish up. Yeah, that's crazy. I don't even know who that is, though. Let me see who that is. Is that like a white guy? Oh, that dude? Yeah, he's a complete nerd. Let me just share mine for the people that don't know who that is. He's a complete nerd, complete doofus. I've seen him before. His show was... I've never watched I don't even think more than 5 minutes of his show, but he always seemed corny. Maybe seen like little clips every now and then, but he was always corny to me. Super corny. All right, let's stop sharing that. We got Intel Wild sends him $5. I live in California. Oh, okay. That's funny. They'll never pass a law like that here. Yeah, in regards to Kentucky and them passing that law, that's interesting, man. It's, it gives us hope that we can, if men get together, we can make some changes, man. We could definitely make some changes. Now, in far radical left states like California, That ain't gonna work out. That ain't gonna work out. We got Intel Wilsons and $5 again. Weaponizing children against their father is just evil. Thanks, feminism. Yeah, that's feminism for you. Intel Wild against us and $5. Look at Intel Wild in here, man, supporting the channel. Appreciate you, man. He says that right there is a okay, that's a Platonic trans AM. Or Pontiac Trans AM. Okay, I see. We got Yo Boy Lame says in $2. Non-binary equals cuckoo people. Yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. We got Tyga says in $10. Says, black chick, why are you so hateful? Also, black chick, ha ha ha. Your homie dead. Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's how she's going to say that you're hateful, but then laughing and saying, your homie is dead. That's wild, man. That is wild. It's like hypocrisy. Straight up hypocrite. Okay, let's see here. Let's pull up this clip. Everybody that's on Facebook and TikTok, come on over to YouTube at No Fugazee Podcast. We are closing down the TikTok stream and the Facebook stream now. We're going to go ahead and react to Dame Dash on the Breakfast Club. Then we're going to go ahead and get into Tucker Carlson debating Piers Morgan. Man, that it was a good debate. So everybody on TikTok and Facebook, I'm closing down those streams now. So come on over. YouTube. Come on over to YouTube. All right. All right, so here's the Dame Dash on the Breakfast Club. If anyone doesn't know who Dame Dash is, let me just go ahead and put him in Google real quick. Read a quick Google overview of him. So Dame Anthony Dash is an American entrepreneur, record executive, actor, director, and producer. To some of the young people maybe that's in here, you probably never heard of Dame Dash or don't know anything about him. But for, everyone that's 30 plus, you definitely should know who Dame Dash is. So he was responsible for signing Cameron to his label, and he also co-founded the urban lifestyle brand Rockaware with Jay-Z in 1999. So yeah, man, he's an entrepreneur, has his record label. What was one of his record labels? Dame Dash record. Was it Def Jam? Pretty sure. No. Rockefeller Records. Yeah, it was Rockefeller Records. Yeah. So Rockefeller Records was an American record label and music management company founded in 1994 by record executive and entrepreneur Dame Dash, Sean Jay-Z Carter. Okay. Yeah, man. So he was with Jay-Z when Jay-Z was just up and coming, man. I don't know if y'all remember the old, late night BET music videos that used to come on. You used to maybe see Dame Dash in there sometimes as well. And I think, is Dame Dash related to Stacey Dash? I do believe Dame Dash. Or is that just a myth? Yeah, so Dame Dash and Stacey Dash. I don't know if y'all know who Stacey Dash is, but she played in Clueless. And Stacey Dash, back in the day, she's a wicked witch now. She's weird now. I don't even know. Maybe not wicked. I would say weird. She's weird. But in Clueless, she was like, it was Halle Berry, and then it was Stacey Dash as like the most beautiful women on the planet. Like all races. I'm talking about black, white, Puerto Rican, Mexican, all the cans. Halle Berry and Stacey Dash, they was at the top back in the 90s, bruh. The 80s and the 90s, They was at the, I would say the 90s, they was at the top as far as being beautiful. Like, you know, like one of the most beautiful women on the planet, I would say. And that's just not my opinion. That was out in the media back then. Okay, so let me go ahead and share that again. My bad for dropping that off. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and play this now. I think I may have another clip, but I think it starts here. Let's go ahead and play it from here.
The office, we paid that. We pay those. I just don't.
That was the asset.
No, asset. Those. Okay, let me explain the assets. In business, and I'm sure none of y'all know this. When you get a copyright, I get copyrights so that no one can sue me for using the name, but doesn't mean there's any value. So through the years, I've gotten copyrights, and then the business goes. So I haven't put a company in my name since 2017. Only thing that was in my name was reasonable doubt, and I couldn't file because then I would have had to take reasonable doubt to all getting $100,000 trying on child support. It always gets paid, or I went to jail.
I'm going to skip ahead to the topic of discussion where he calls Charlamagne the god feminine. And you're going to see why he called him feminine. And, you know, we're going to psychoanalyze this to a degree. And I'll give you guys my perspective because there is a war on masculinity. And the main people, the main black people, some of the main, it doesn't even matter the race, the men that they have, that the agenda is pushing forth is feminine men.
Last time I was behind, it was $1 million. I paid it. That sounds broke to you? If all my children, and I pay their colleges up front, they don't have debt, meaning they don't have to go on, that sounds broke to you? Every one of my baby mothers has 2 or 3 houses. That sounds broke to you? It's not about me. If you Google her family, or certain people I know, I'll Google them, they have no money. I Google the family office, $10 billion. Rich people don't put anything in their name. But you don't know that. You don't know that. And I feel sorry for you because you don't get to see the daylight. You guys, you don't. You've missed your whole life.
We don't have anything on our name.
So then
I have a question about the book deal with Simon & Schuster. Congratulations.
Go ahead.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What made you sign a book deal with Simon & Schuster as opposed to publishing independently?
Because number one, some things I use as a lost leader. I gave them the book, but I didn't give them the ancillary thing. So they don't have the TV. They don't have, so I just use that as a lost leader to stimulate the other verticals.
You can't sign a book deal. He probably got an imprint because he would have a boss if he had an imprint.
No, I have an imprint with Simon & Schuster.
Well, my family office got the book deal. You understand now? Smart guy?
I'm asking.
So, again, letting people yell at you like that is not masculine. And a woman, do you think he's masculine? Would you want this man around you if 10 guys jumped you? He'd run, and you'd have to run with him. I like my women to feel safe when they're around me. I don't tell people, and I'm not saying that's your way, but you're just not masculine. I've seen him run. I looked at a whole reel of, there's like a thing that says how many people bark. There's stuff that how many times you talk about other people's genitals. You real masculine men don't do that. You said that some guys was throwing you kisses because they liked your paw's butt, and you went back. That's gay.
Why do you have such a problem with gay
I don't have a problem. I have a problem with you. Wait. No.
And that's what they do to the people. That's actually and Charlamagne is good at this. Dame Dash is calling him feminine, and he's giving reasons to why he thinks Charlamagne is feminine and is probably gay. He's given reasons like, listen, I seen you run from a fight many times. There's clips of you saying wild things and you're speaking about males' genitals. There's clips of this and this. Like, you've been doing a lot of suspect stuff, man. Just go ahead out there and admit that you're gay. Instead of, being in the closet, come on out. Don't be scared. And what Charlamagne did is he tried to reverse it and put it on him and say, oh, well, you have a problem with gay people? No. No one said I had a problem with gay people. Dame Dash is saying, no, nigga, he got a problem with you claiming to be heterosexual when you're most likely homosexual. Let's continue on.
Crazy, yeah, that is why I pause. There's a lot of people like you.
That's crazy.
There's a lot of people like you that are gay that don't that pretend they're not, and that's not fair because you're running around.
That's not your
Stop!
business.
You're here. You're representing a black man, and I don't want white
Black
people.
men can't be gay.
You're representing.
See, look what he's saying. He's speaking, but then Charlamagne is what he's trying to do is he's trying to virtue signal to say, well, you're speaking about this community, but is there a problem with this community? Black people can't be in this community? That isn't the topic of the discussion. The topic of the discussion is you, Charlamagne. Are you gay? Come out the closet. And it's funny because, you know, he's just trying to deflect right now. That's Charlamagne's only strategy.
Hold on, answer the question. Black men can't be gay?
Black men that are gay should say they're gay.
Well, I'm not gay.
You are. You're gay. You know, anyway, now let me talk
Then
to
you're
you.
broke.
Let me
If
ask
I'm
you.
gay, you're broke.
What would you rather do? Have a repo or a Rico?
And then look what Charlamagne does. Like his get back is, well, if I'm gay, you're broke. If I'm gay, you're broke. Like, isn't that what a chick would say? Like, if you say something to a chick, they gonna be like, oh, yeah, nigga, you broke. Like, wait, what? What are you talking about?
But repo.
But you're getting investigated for a Rico.
Am I?
That's what I'm saying.
You're listening to the internet.
That's why I'm talking to you about it. That's what I'm talking to you about. Wait. How should I know? I never heard of these.
So when we ask the question,
yo, I'm talking to him now. See what you're doing? Girls do that. Let me say this. You acting like a girl.
You move like an old auntie. You an old Harlem auntie.
I could punch you right in your face like a grown man. I won't. And you won't do shit.
Ooh, now it's getting spicy right now. And I'm going to play it in a second, but I want you guys to pay attention to what another weak rebuttal from Charlamagne. He says, and you're moving like an old auntie. Like, what? Like, bro, what kind of joke is nobody laughed? It was dry. It was corny. Like, what's going on here, man? But it's turning up right now. Let's see.
That's not Patty. So just so you know, because I knew you was going to say that.
I've seen you run.
Yes.
That's it. I've seen you. I'm not saying I will. I'm saying no. Then your version of respectful is different than mine. We were on the street right now and you were talking like that. I would have fucked you up. But I'm not going to do that. Nah, I wouldn't have got beat up. But I wouldn't have got beat up. Let's end this. So let me say one more thing before I leave.
I had so many questions.
All right. Oh, you're right.
How you want to leave? You can't get in your emotions and want to leave, Dang.
No, what I'm saying is when you interrupt me and you say certain things, where I'm from, the masculine man will fuck you up.
Yeah.
But because let me finish. No, I didn't. I said not gonna happen. I didn't say. I said I could, and you wouldn't do anything.
And we gonna fight.
I didn't see that on tape. You ran.
Yeah, because it was 4 guys, but that's cool.
Wait, ask what happened when 30 guys jumped me.
Respect.
I got that ass whipping, but I fucked them niggas up.
I think it's been some head trauma ever since.
Yeah. Hey, yo, pause. Come on, man. Yo, Danny, give me a second. I want to say something.
Wait, you cut Envy
off.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Envy.
It's no sense, but...
And real quick, let me give you guys some context, because if we're speaking real here, man, I think both of them are not masculine. Neither of them are masculine. And you're probably like, Cooley, well, what do you mean neither of them are masculine? And I'm going to tell you why. It's something about, I don't know why, like the difference, and this is general. I'm not speaking about all black people or all black media people or all black podcasts or all white media. It's like a general statement. When I look at like a Joe Rogan podcast, because we got to compare it. If we're looking at podcasts, black podcasts, man, The Breakfast Club and Joe Rogan, man, that's neck and neck. The Breakfast Club is a huge, for many, many years, radio station, and now they doing their podcast thing. So it's big like a Joe Rogan. And when we compare the two, I'm going to go back for you guys. Let me just mark this time stamp down. Where we at? We at 35. We're at 35 minutes in. Let me just mark that down so I could come right back to it. But I want to play the beginning, and I want you guys to see when Dame Dash came in, he set all of these boundaries because he's sensitive, right? And even when he's having a discussion with them and he's about to get up and walk off, that's what females would do, right? So we got to be transparent here. We got to be objective. Like, yeah, we already know Charlamagne. Yeah, you suspect, bro. You do a lot of feminine things. But even with Dame Dash, his mannerisms is feminine because you don't have like a firm thing that you're standing on. This wasn't the first time that he got up and wanted to leave the podcast. I watched almost the whole show. He got up and was about to leave maybe about 5 times due to what Charlamagne and Envy was saying. And they wasn't saying nothing really, maybe just cutting them off. So let me go to the beginning real quick. So you see how it came about and what rules was set in place.
Say that I really appreciate y'all coming in, pause, having a face-to-face conversation with me.
To the mic. So they can
a face-to-face conversation with me. So like, you know, in the street when people want to sit down and talk that respect each other, even if they beefing at the table because y'all came to the table, there has to be respect. So I got to respect y'all. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to respect. I want y'all to respect me. And first, I want to give y'all some gifts. Nicolette. Remember the little white lesbian? Little white lesbian, Aaliyah?
Oh, my God. Hi, Nicolette.
That's her. That's the little white lesbian.
That's like her I will not call you that, but...
Yeah, like you... Why she ain't white lesbian?
Remember he said that. That's what he called her,
that's what hit the
everybody
little,
picked it up.
I said it because that's what she reminds me of, but...
Oh, yeah, got you.
That's her right there. Yeah, I got a record with her. She's...
She reminds you of a little white lesbian?
No, she is a white lesbian.
Oh,
If Aaliyah was white, she probably would have been like, because she's a little dark too. So I'd be like, you act like a white girl version of Aaliyah. Like she'd be a lesbian. And then
you don't think that hurts artists when y'all do that though?
Comparing to other people?
Yeah, because it sets the bar and it gets people.
Why hear that? I appreciate you.
Well, you about to say that we didn't.
No, I'm skipping forward to the part where he set his boundaries, like how a woman sets their boundaries. Like, oh, don't say this. No, he sets all of these boundaries. So let me go to that part.
You text me and say,
this book's and kids doing that on.
Yeah, I seen you do.
Nothing about that. When people cut me off.
Yes, right here.
You said let's do this. A verbal fair one.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, you never saw that. You see the other stuff, but you never see me order the schools. You never say nothing about that. That's what I be wondering. We're going to talk about that today.
Let's talk about it. You said you wanted a verbal fair one.
I do. And again, I appreciate it. So let's do some boundaries, right? Because everyone
So look, he reached out to Charlamagne or whatever, or they spoke on social media or whatever, and Dame Dash said, hey, I want a verbal fair one. And look at the boundaries that he sets in with a verbal fair one. Like, this is feminine. You guys gonna see.
It was like, what happens is, when people cut me off, I talk louder. So if you cut me off, I'm going to talk louder. It's not going to be any disrespect. I just don't like being cut off because I want to be able to complete my point. And I'll do this, give you the same respect. Mm-hmm. So let's do this. I'd like you to every single thing that you've been saying when I'm not here and question you've had now that I'm here, I'd like you to ask me. You too. Because I saw all the stuff y'all said. Mm-hmm. I posted it. Mm-hmm. Just because I'm like, when I see them, we'll talk about it. Mm-hmm. So what were your questions? You were saying something.
My first question was...
Okay, now you see that he set the boundaries. And you can say, well, Cooley, that isn't anything too crazy. He's just saying, look, basically one mic at a time. While I'm speaking, don't cut me off, right? But you're going to see, they're going to cut him off because it's a conversation, and that's what happens. And you're going to see him get triggered and become so sensitive due to very, very small things of them just having a back and forth. Now, once again, Dame Dash has been doing this for years. He should be an expert with having open dialogue and being interviewed with people that can obfuscate and move the goalpost or ask so many questions at once. It's very easy to be, well, let me get to this first question that you asked, and then after I get to that question, I'll go ahead and answer your other question that you have as well. But if I forget, just remind me of it. He could do it like that instead of setting these boundaries and then. Every time someone cuts him off, he's like, his panties are in a bunch and he's about to walk off. This is very feminine. It's feminine behavior. I'm going to play a little bit for you. I'm going to play it out just so you guys can see. And you're going to be like, yeah, this is gay. This wouldn't happen on like a Joe Rogan type podcast. It wouldn't be anything because you can just have the dialogue and have the back and forth. You know what I mean? It's even like when I have debates, like over here on this side of the internet, and what No Fugazee podcast do, we do blood sport debates where we go on back and forth. You get what I'm saying? But then when like I'll debate on other channels, some other channels, depending on where I'm debating at, they're like so sensitive, and it's like, well, you speaking so much going on a monologue, let's do one point at a time. It's just very weird how the sensitivity within people, it shows that they are feminine. And I'm going to play it here.
What about the Paid in Full?
What about it?
Did you own Paid in Full? Like, how did 50 Cent acquire ownership of Paid in Full?
Let me ask you a question. Let's put this in.
That's not how this works, Dane. No.
I'm sorry.
I asked the question.
You just cut me off. Right?
You see what just happened there? So Charlamagne asked the question, and Dame Dash wasn't going to answer the question at all. He was going to Dame Dash was actually going to go on to something else, and maybe he was going to explain and then answer the question. But I think that you can do both, and you can answer the question first and then explain. You can say yes or no, and then you can go ahead and explain. I think that that's what men do, right? Or you can just, preface it with saying, well, before I answer that, can I just elaborate so it makes sense on my yes or no? You can do that as well, just so the person that is asking a question is aware that you're not trying to move the goalpost and avoid the question. You're actually going to answer the question. But what Dame Dash does is, see, you just cut me off. One, he tries to avoid the question, and then he points it out that, oh, you just cut me off, my boundaries. Let's continue on.
Now, I want you to notice every time you do that.
Okay.
And they would say I'm bugging if I yell, but please let me complete my sentence. And please don't tell me how we do things. That's going to be a trigger. So I'm just talking.
Another thing is he was calling Charlamagne feminine, but he says that he has these triggers. Now, he brings up his triggers multiple times during this interview. Oh, that's a trigger for me. Yeah, I don't say this because that's a trigger. Women are triggered. Women have triggers. You can't say certain things to women. You got to walk on eggshells when you're around them because they're so sensitive. They're going to get triggered. They're going to have an emotional reaction. So it's ironic because, and it's hypocrisy that you're saying, because yes, he's calling Charlamagne feminine, and yeah, Charlamagne is feminine. But on the other hand, Dame Dash, you're behaving very feminine as well. You're not the most masculine person. And we don't have to really compare the masculinity, but we can just speak about the distinction of masculine and feminine. If you would have behaved and portrayed yourself on this podcast as more masculine, then it would make sense, and it would take you out of the hypocrisy field of you calling someone else feminine, right? Like if you're going to come on here and speak masculine and be it and portray yourself as a masculine person, well, you don't want to be all sensitive and trying to leave and walk off every time someone says something that you don't like. And every time someone cuts you off, you get your panties in a bunch and you just stop and you complain like a 2-year-old. This would be something that's feminine, something that women and children do. So I'm being objective here, and I'm pointing out that truly both of them exhibit a lot of feminine characteristic traits. I would say Dame Dash, not as many, maybe just on this interview. Maybe this could have been his strategy of trying to pivot the conversations in the direction that he wants it to go. This could have been a strategy that he's used, but still, even the strategy, I would say it's feminine. You know what I mean? So, let's continue on.
Okay, normally, do you remember when 50 Cent was supposed to be putting out a documentary about Puff on Netflix?
Yes.
Where is it?
I think it's still happening.
Yeah, right. He's capping.
Okay, so now you guys got that. Let's go back to the 35 mark where we was.
Can't give him the answer.
The problem with Dame, this is the problem with Dame, which I
there's no problem, bro. What are you talking about?
This is the problem.
Y'all want to see me struggle so bad. When have y'all seen? Wait a second. Let me ask a question. Let me ask one question. Let me ask one question.
I was talking, you cut me off. The problem, Dame, I have with you is you're a businessman and an entrepreneur.
I don't care what your problem
is. When people have a question to you, you don't want to ask the question. And exactly what you do to people. I
did answer.
You are a chatty patty. Right?
No, I'm not. Okay, let's do this. Can I talk? Let me answer that. Can I answer that? Can I answer that?
No, you can't come speaking. Right?
So now you see that they're both accusing one another of the same thing. Envy and Charlamagne is now accusing Dame Dash of being a chatty patty and stuff like that. Never want to answer questions. He's accusing them of, being feminine and being gossipers, and that gossiping is feminine, which is the same thing, a chatty patty. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, it's they're both accusing one another of the same thing, and I would say that no, both of them are feminine. The distinction, what I wanted to make in regards to podcasts like the Breakfast Club, and then also just comparing Joe Rogan, another big podcast, the difference is you would never see this type of behavior and this type of like decorum on a Joe Rogan. You may see some back and forth when he has some comedians going on. They, spitting some jokes and they laughing, and it's a little crazy, but it's never like sensitive to the part where it's like, oh no, I don't want to speak about that. Oh no, you can't do this and you can't come. Like all of these different boundaries and guidelines because you are an emotional wreck. You get triggered easily. So in order for you not to be triggered, you need to put a boundary there. And if someone, steps over your boundary, you complain and you whine like a female. I've never witnessed this on Joe Rogan. I watched many Joe Rogan episodes. I'm sure there's maybe been one, but this isn't like a normal thing, right? But even with many other episodes, even with on the Breakfast Club, man, it isn't any conversations that's like intellectual, really. I'll be honest. I would say the intellectual conversations that they do have is when they bring on some Republicans or some conservative type individuals. Other than that, it just be not really that intelligent. Now, Dame Dash, he is an entrepreneur. He is a businessman. And I would say that the things that he be speaking about is facts. He did this, point out a lot of truths within the music industry. He's a strategic businessman. He never lost a court case of what I've, heard or seen. So he gets to the bag in a very precarious way, but nevertheless, he's definitely a figurehead in the hip hop industry as far as being, one of those guys that, talk with his chest, say what he want, and go about his, life the way he feels and stuff like that, which some people can maybe think that is masculine, but it isn't masculine when you're on a podcast setting boundaries and you're sensitive, trying to walk off every few seconds when someone cuts you off, your panties are in a bunch. That isn't really masculine. So this is a war on masculinity, because when you're looking at this type of, like, if you are a fan of this show, how do you even operate as a man? Like, how do you decipher, like, this is why you need a masculine, yes, this is why you need to be raised with a masculine father in a black household. Even in a white household too, you need to be raised with a masculine father, because how can you decipher what's really masculine and what isn't when you got all of these, people on social media trying to portray themselves as masculine when they're really not? So it's hard to decipher the mannerisms, the way they speak and the way they operate, the way they behave, and all of these type of things. And the truth be told, masculinity is just standing 10 toes down, right? You got some do's and don'ts about yourself, and no one can get you off your square at all. That's masculinity. You see how Dame Dash they getting him off his square. You see how Dame Dash is getting Charlamagne off his square. A masculine man, he would never get off his square. And you guys witnessed it here on No Fugazee podcast, where I had girls throw drinks. I had many type of different altercations, and you see me go on, other shows and do other debates and stuff like that. And a fairly stoic individual, because I'm not emotional, I'm not sensitive like that. But not only that, I have some do's and don'ts about myself that I just never broke. But people don't have the discipline, so they tend to break their do's and don'ts, which makes you more feminine. I don't smoke, drink, cuss. I've never done it. I don't do it. It's not in my behavior, right? You're not ever going to see me do those things at all. You're just not going to witness it over here. So it's been like that since day one, right? So with that being said, this built up like this character about me. And as a man, if you want to be a masculine man, you need to build up some character. You need to experience some adversities, overcome that adversities, and it's going to build character. That's what it's going to do. But you see, Well, your character really isn't built like that if you're sensitive and other people got to walk on eggshells when you're around because you're going to be emotionally triggered, right? So that isn't masculine, man. And we see that a lot on black media spaces. And we were just reviewing Jimmy Kimmel. He was a white male that was beta, that was feminine as well. So we're reviewing the white males that's feminine, and now we're reviewing these black men that's feminine as well. But I would say that if we're looking at a level, Dame Dash is more masculine than the rest of these dudes on here. But anyways, I'll digress. Let's get to the next clip. That's about all it was. It was a lot of jokes, though. It was a lot of jokes. I would say this. Dame Dash is funny. He actually mad funny. This episode was probably one of their best episodes because, one, Dame Dash is intelligent to a degree, so you can learn some business strategies with him. And the homie is funny. Should be a comedian. All right, we got Yo Boy Lame. He sends in $5. Appreciate the support, Yo Boy Lame. Let's see what you said. Bring this one up on screen. Who was this? Zero Cool says, whoever timed me out coolly just described. You mean you just unsubscribed? I'm not sure who timed you out. Hey, mods, if no one is speaking anything too crazy, you can keep them in here. You don't got to time them out, mods. If they're just being complete idiots, then sure. So it's Cooley is calling out some active behavior in the chat. It's people acting feminine in the chat. All right, where is the super chat that came up? And there is a difference. So people in a chat, there's a difference. If you're in a chat and if you're trolling, then no, I tell my mods to get rid of the trolls. There's no need for trolls and to like spam and say the same thing over and over. But if you're in here and if you share a different opinion about something, that's totally fine. Mods, don't get rid of them if they share a different opinion than me. Yeah. Like if they share a different opinion than me, that's totally fine. You don't got to get rid of them. That's what you guys are there to, in the chat. If you guys agree with me, the mods, if you agree with me, which I'm sure a lot of you do, agree with my takes, then, have the back and forth with the people that disagree in the chat. You don't got to fully get rid of them unless they're just trolling. Then get rid of them. All right, we got a Yo Boy Limsons and $5. Never a fan of Breakfast Club, a.k.a. Diddy Club. Nothing intelligent comes out from this panel, particularly Charlamagne. Same for Exotic Milk Dud. All right. Tit for tat is feminine. Yeah, I see that. Tit for tat is feminine, man. It's a feminine behavior. All right, let's get to the next video. So now the next thing that we're going to get into, chat, is the Piers Morgan debate with Tucker Carlson. It is a good one. So you guys are going to like this one. I'm not sure if you've ever seen it before, but it's a good one. You know what? Since we were on a Breakfast Club, maybe we should stay on the... Let me know what you guys want, because we can react to the Tucker Carlson on Piers Morgan. We can get to that one first, or we can get to where is it? Ben Shapiro on a Breakfast Club. So since we just reacted to a Breakfast Club video, we can get to Ben Shapiro on a Breakfast Club. Put a one in the chat if you want Ben Shapiro on a Breakfast Club. If you want me to react to that one next, put a one in the chat. If you want me to get to the Tucker Carlson debate on Piers Morgan, put a two in the chat. So Tucker Carlson, two in the chat. Ben Shapiro on a Breakfast Club, one in the chat. Let me know what you guys want in that order. Let me know what you want. We got Wicked Dream says, Zero Cool wants to debate you. Send a link in chat. Zero Cool wants to debate me. Okay. Okay, looks like we got more twos for the Tucker Carlson debate on Piers Morgan. Zero Cool wants to debate me. I guess I'll entertain it. Why not? For a brief moment. I'm sure that he most likely wants to debate me on maybe what we just reacted to. So let's see. Give me a second. I'm going to go ahead and put the link. And once I bring up Zero Cool, I got no patience today. So if you actually want to debate, I'm only giving you 2 minutes to click the link and join the stream. You only get a maximum of 2 minutes to click the link and join the stream. I am posting the link now in the chat. There's the link, and I pinned that link in the chat as well, so it is pinned. You got 2 minutes to click that link and to join the stream. If not, I got zero patience today, so I'm just going to move on to reacting to what the chat wants, which is the Tucker Carlson and Piers Morgan debate. Zero Cool says, I want to fight Cooley. Oh, come on, man. You don't want that. Go ahead and click the link. You got 2 minutes, man. Click that link. And this is what he says. He wants to fight Cooley. So I guess he was trolling. You don't want those problems. That isn't even masculine to do, to say, I want to fight you. And you said this after I put the link. You could actually click the link and said it to me live on stream. All right? That's what you could have did. But instead, you're writing more comments. Yeah. He's still not here, chat. He still didn't come in yet. And we're going to keep this up. I want to fight you comment while he comes up. Let's see. I see Yobo and Cooley, fly him out so y'all can box. You know what? I offered to fly 2 people out. Both of them declined. They did not accept the offer. That offer doesn't stand for all. It all depends on if I'm, if it comes to that. But both individuals that I offered that flight to a whooping, they declined. All right, man. This 2 minutes are almost up. Zero Cool. So you said that you want to debate me, and now you also say that you want to fight me, but you are still not up on stream. I went ahead and put that link for you to join the stream, and it is pinned in the YouTube comments. Don't be scared. Is he still in the comments? All right, so we're giving him, that's about 2 minutes. So I would say time expired. Time has definitely expired. So, hey, Wick Kid and any of the other mods, get him up out of here. You can go ahead and ban him because he's just a troll. And we have zero tolerance for the trolls. We got a super chat that came in, sent in $5. Lindsay, I believe, says, most people debate with their emotions and not on their knowledge. Yeah, I would say, yeah, most people, they argue. Like the argument can turn into like a back and forth, which is like a debate, generally speaking. Yeah, Yeah, that's a lot of women do that, and men do it as well too. But in like a debate, like a formal debate, or like a debate up, on YouTube, yeah, I would even say that's generally true. Yeah, because even a lot of the people that I debated, is very feelings based. So yeah, appreciate the support. I think I mispronounced the name though, but it's all good. We got now. Yeah, man. I see you, Tyga. I'm reading your comment in here. Yeah, man. He was scared. Okay, let's get to the next clip that we're gonna react to. All right, so what we got here, chat, is Tucker Carlson versus Piers Morgan. Let's hop right into it.
9/11 is a complete lie.
The point was to leverage the pain and outrage of that day and use it to convince Americans that we ought to invade Iraq. I'm not alleging that they committed 9/11, but I am stating, because it's a fact, that they were aware the hijackers were in the U.S. Even right now, as we speak, the CIA is effectively refusing to release information that they have from 24 years ago. They should be forced at gunpoint to divulge this. I'm not an anti-Semite, obviously. I'm not even anti-Israel. And you're calling me names is not going to stop me, because I don't have to take orders from you about what I'm allowed to know or not know, because it's my country. So don't tell me that the greatest threat we face is Iran. That's a lie. It's not an endorsement of Iran, okay? Doesn't make me a simp for the Shiites.
President Trump told reporters at the time that you had called him and apologized. Is that true? The biggest dividing line in politics is arguably no longer right or left. Instead, it's a lot to do with trust. There are those who broadly trust our institutions and our experts, and who generally believe in the stories and the mythologies about our history and the events which define it. On the other side of the people who increasingly don't trust any of these things. They see a deep state, a swamp, and a cabal of vested interests who are anything but America first. That dividing line explains a lot about MAGA's division on everything from the Epstein files to US support for Israel's war and the decision to bomb Iran. This week marks 24 years since 9/11, the deadliest terrorist attack in American history. For most of those 24 years, there's been no real dividing line over how most Americans interpret the horrific events of the day itself. But Tucker Carlson's about to release a documentary series with the tantalizing tagline, "It's time Americans learned what actually happened." And Tucker Carlson, founder of the Tucker Carlson Network, joins me now. Tucker, welcome back to Uncensored.
Thank you, Piers. Thanks for having me.
You're looking very sprightly.
All right, so Tucker Carlson, he's putting out an episode to debunk or push forth the truth in regards to the 9/11 situation. There's been many people that done it before him that came with tons of evidence, they would say, and the actual true evidence and proof to say that, what we were told about 9/11 wasn't actually true. He wasn't the first to do it, but he is, I would say, one of the most popular to do it now. So this is good.
If I may say so.
Thank you. I think your intro is, you make a smart point that it is about trust. It's not a classic partisan division. And I'm really struck, we spent the last 4 months looking into 9/11, reassessing the explanations we were given by the government for 9/11. And one of the things that really struck me was the viciousness with which anyone who questioned it, certainly in the first several years, was treated with. They were dismissed as crazy. By the way, I participated in that.
Yeah.
I attacked people who questioned 9/11, so I'm very culpable there. But there's a very simple way to dispel conspiracy theories, to make people with dumb ideas look foolish, and that's by disclosing what actually happened. It's by telling the truth. It's through transparency that you gain trust. It's not, if you ask your children, where were you last night? I'm not going to tell you. Does that engender trust? Of course not. It destroys it. And so there's also a sense in which it's outrageous that the U.S. government could presume to hide from the people who own the country, the citizens, the truth about an event that changed the nation more than any other in our lifetimes, any since the Civil War. It's a completely different country. since 9/11. Millions of people died in the aftermath of 9/11. And so what exactly is the justification for not telling us what happened that day? And they haven't, period.
Well, let me play a trailer from the series. Let's take a look at this.
The official story on 9/11 is a complete lie. The 9/11 report is a joke.
You have the CIA following two men all over the planet and then eventually even to America, right? And you don't tell the FBI. 9/11 Commission cover.
So what did happen? What did the government know? What did foreign governments know? There was a cover-up. Why? It's been nearly 25 years. It is time Americans learned what actually happened.
It's a great trailer. What to you, though, Tucker, are the biggest lies perpetrated on the American people from 9/11?
Well, the core lie is the 9/11 Commission itself, which was an instrument, a political instrument of the Bush administration run by a guy called Philip Zelikow. And from beginning to end, he stage managed the explanation for 9/11 in a way that benefited the neoconservative factions within the Bush administration. The point was to leverage the pain and outrage of that day and use it to convince Americans that we ought to invade Iraq, which of course had nothing whatsoever to do with 9/11. And he wrote the commission report with that in mind. And by the way, he wrote it before the investigation took place. He literally sketched it out before they knew what the facts were. And then during the course of the investigation, he systematically, I'm not guessing.
Let's take a quick pause. Zero Cool, I see that you clicked the link, but you came in here and your camera wasn't on. Zero Cool, if you want to smoke and you want to have a debate, you can. I will bring you up. I'll take a quick pause and I'll bring you on up. But your camera has to be on. So we're not doing that. If you want to debate, camera on. When I see you turn, well, you're not backstage no more, but you just came backstage and you left out, but your camera wasn't on. I would have brought you up. So if you want to come on, click that link again. I'll bring you up. Make sure your camera's on. Let's continue.
By the way, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is the testimony of people who are directly involved in the commission. Chairman Tom Kean, the former governor of New Jersey, Republican governor, he stage managed the entire thing and prevented investigators from looking into like core questions. For example, the CIA was fully aware that many of the hijackers who committed 9/11 were in the United States. They had followed them, as the trailer suggests, around the world. 11 out of the 19 hijackers had visas for travel to the United States issued in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, at exactly the moment that John Brennan was the station chief for the CIA in Saudi Arabia. They knew that they were here. They didn't hide the fact that they were here. I mean, Khalid al-Mihdhar, who was a 26-year-old Saudi, the plane that hit the Pentagon, was in the San Diego phone book, and he was being followed by the CIA. I mean, this is all documented, and not just by the CIA, by foreign intel services, probably the British, possibly the French, definitely the Israelis. They knew. Now, I'm not alleging that they committed 9/11, but I am stating, because it's a fact, that they were aware the hijackers were in the U.S. and were planning a terror attack against the United States, and they never passed that information to the FBI, to local police, much less to the American public, and 3,000 people died as a result. So what is that? Huge parts of the 9/11 story were left out of the commission report. For example, what happened to Building 7, which was not only not next to the Twin Towers, which were hit by airplanes, but had a building in between itself and those buildings, collapsed that afternoon for reasons that no one has been able to explain since. You're not a lunatic for asking. There is no there's no plausible explanation for how that building collapsed.
Well, so let's talk about that.
That's not even mentioned.
Well, let's talk about that for a moment,
report.
because it's one of the many things that have raged since. If you look into the investigation into Tower 7, the findings of the investigation into it were that the North Tower, when it came down, had set off a load of fires in Building 7. And it was a steel structure and shouldn't have gone down, but it did. That these fires burned all afternoon, and I think it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon or something, the tower eventually gave way to the welter of fires raging inside it. And it was the only time that had happened to a structure that was built in that way. However, there has been another tower very similar to that in structure, which has since gone down in Tehran. So it's no longer the only one. In other words, there is another example of a tower like that collapsing. So when it comes to the specific theory about that, what is the alternative explanation? I mean, if you're examining another theory other than the one that the investigation concluded was simply that the North Tower came down, fires were set off in Tower 7, and then it eventually collapsed, what is the other theory which we should give more credence to?
I don't know. I don't know that the onus is on me or anyone who seeks the truth about what happened to come up with an alternative theory. The onus is on federal authorities to explain why, for example, they never investigated it. Why, for example, the rubble and the steel from that building was carted off within hours and sent out of the country to Asia. Why, for example, an analysis done not by kooks, but by chemists found traces of explosive material in the dust from that day. Why structural engineers who have kind of no skin in this game came to the conclusion that that just couldn't happen based on all available evidence. And that none of that is addressed at all or even mentioned in the 9/11 report. So, and there are all kinds of anomalies, as I know that you're fully aware, and there are possible explanations to explain all of them. For example, the BBC report on air saying the building had fallen when it hadn't fallen yet. There are all sorts of reasons to wonder, like, what the hell is this? But it's not incumbent on us to provide explanation. It's incumbent on the people running the government and running the supposed investigation into this to tell us, like, what was that? And
I mean, look, I have a very open mind. The reason I'm interested to watch your documentary series, I have a genuinely open mind. And actually, I would say it's been more opened generally about this kind of thing since the COVID pandemic. That I was too, I think, credulous about what the authorities were saying through the pandemic to my detriment. You and I have had this conversation. So I'm actually have a very open mind about this. I mean, on the specifics, for example, the BBC report you mentioned was based on a false Reuters report that they retracted soon afterwards and said it shouldn't have gone out. And the building, you could see the building behind the BBC journalist. So it was obviously ludicrous. CNN did the same thing. But having been in the news game as you have, on big breaking news stories, fog of war stuff happens. And if it was a genuine error by Reuters, okay. I remember, for example.
Crazy thing is, I remember where I was 9/11. I was 11 years old at the time. I stayed home from school. I think I played hooky. I don't think I was really sick, y'all. Yeah, I definitely played hooky. I definitely told my mom's like, yeah, I ain't feeling too good. And then I was home playing video games and chilling. But my brother was there, my older brother. And I remember when it happened, I was watching it on TV, and I'm young. I've never seen, have I been to New York? I don't think I even really, at 11 years old, maybe I did go to New York, but maybe when I was 8, but I don't really have any like impactful memories of like seeing the Twin Towers and stuff like that, right? I think I went to Ellis Island or whatever, but that was about it. Like that was the closest thing that I did of like seeing like a monument like that or a big structure. But anyways, I was 11 years old and I seen a plane hit, and my brother, he was like, oh, that just happened. I'm like, wait, what just happened? And he's wilding out. And my brother is, if I'm 11, he gotta be at least 17 at this time. Yeah, he's like 17 at this time if I'm 11 years old, 16 or 17. And it shocked him. He's like, no, he was 17. And he's like, yo, this crazy. And this is when he already maybe he was 18. So I think he already did like a little time in prison, maybe like a few months in prison, and then he got out or whatever. Homie was in jail all the time. But anyways, he's like, yo, I in a pen, one of the homies, they said like, we read on this, like, this was going to happen or whatever. And I'm like, what? I was too young to understand. I'm like, man, what are you talking about? This is going to happen. But all I remember that we didn't have school the next day. So, homie, I was happy. I'm like, dang, we ain't got school the next day. It's lit. Oh, it's lit, man. We ain't got to go to school. And then everybody that was in school, I remember they came home early. So I skipped school. I played hooky, didn't go to school. Then everybody that was in school that day got let out early because they thought like, the world was under attack at the time. So I'm like, and mind you, I'm in Union County, New Jersey. So I'm only, 30 minutes from New York City? I'm a good 35 minutes from New York City at this time. With traffic, maybe 40 minutes. But as far as mileage-wise, miles is only, it's maybe, 30 miles away. Yeah, it ain't that far. 25, 25, 30, I would say, like 25, maybe 30 miles away. It isn't far. New York City wasn't too far from me. But, yeah, that's my memory of it. And it wasn't nothing too crazy. I didn't know anyone that was over there. I had an aunt, my one aunt, she lived out there in Mount Vernon, but she wasn't impacted by it. No family members died. I didn't know anyone that had a family member that died. So me personally, I wasn't impacted by the whole 9/11 situation and I was super, super young, right? To me, it was just like, bro, this is crazy. And I was just influenced by the people around me. So if, someone had an opinion about it, I was influenced to maybe believe that opinion is true. If it's a conspiracy, like, it wasn't the Afghans, it wasn't, this, it was someone else, it was our own government involved. I was just hearing a whole lot of things and soaking in information at the time. But let's continue on. Let me know. So this is the part where they're speaking about the 9/11 situation. Put a 1 in the chat if you want to watch more of this part they're going to get in a little bit more into the conversation in regards to 9/11 and their different opinions on it. And Tucker is going to go into basically saying that it's fake and then the government scammed us and lied to us and why they're not telling us the truth. Put a 1 in the chat if you want to hear more of this, or if you want me to get into where they actually have the debate and they go back and forth about, geopolitics and Israel and, a whole bunch of other, some spicy topics. So put a 1 in the chat if you want me to continue with the 9/11 part. Put a 2 in the chat if you want me to go move to another part. Let's go. Let me know. Talk to me, chat. Xandar, don't comment twice. Come on. Comment. Let me know. 1 in the chat. I think Israel and Bush collaborated. All right. So, 1 in the chat if you want me to stay right here and we'll continue to go with the 9/11 conversation, or if you want me to move. It's going to be the same Tucker Carlson versus Piers Morgan, but it's just moving it forward in the conversation. All right, so we got more ones. We're going to keep it right here. Let's continue on.
Example, just as a comparison, I remember being on air at CNN when the hurricane came through, Hurricane Sandy burst through Manhattan. If you were probably at Fox then, I think. But if you remember, half the lights went out in lower Manhattan. And I remember a report coming from CNN that the stock exchange was underwater. And that had an immediate impact on global markets. And it turned out that was a false report. So these things can happen. US national debt is more than $37 trillion. And these are uncertain times for the global economy. 8, 9, September. 9, if there's any suggestion anywhere of an inside job, or is the stuff that you're talking about in relation to CIA and the fascinating details of these two people in particular they were following, is that more cock-up than conspiracy? In other words, was it a gigantic cock-up that after bin Laden had already had one go at the World Trade Center, that there was just not a collective effort by the CIA, by FBI, by other intelligence agencies around the world to stop him succeeding with a second attempt? So is it cock-up, or do you think there is merit to suggestion that some...
Real quick, we got some chats in here. Just want to honor real fast. Appreciate everyone supporting and donating to the channel. Let me just go ahead and bring up a few of these chats that just came in. We got Intel Wild, this is $5. Please, everyone here, just hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Do that now for me. Do not be a ninja watcher. A like is free, man. Listen, if you don't like the podcast, you're gay. We got Tyga, this is $20. Shout outs to Tyga, man. He always in here supporting. Appreciate the mods, man, coming through. He says, thus saith the stash, the benevolent chat mods have hereby banished Zero Cool from the land. The ruling is just. They are honorable protectors of the free people of No Fugazee land. The stash and Cooley approve. Salute. I do approve. I do approve. Homie was weird. And he was a troll, basically, you know? So, wait, I got a sound for that. Yeah. I think that's the right one. All right, let's continue.
People somewhere must have known more than we've been told.
Well, we know that people did know more than we've been told. I mean, somebody shorted the airlines and a bunch of the banks that were affected. Now, this is not a conspiracy theory. It's not a guess. This is publicly available information. Now, the FBI found out the identity of the person or institution that shorted these events on 9/11 and made a huge amount of money by doing that, but never released that information. So why can't we know who clearly had foreknowledge? I mean, if you're shorting American Airlines a week before 9/11, when no one knows it's coming, I think you should have to explain why you did that. And if you're shorting Barclays and banks that were affected by 9/11, why can't we know who you are? These are public markets, by the way. This is not private equity. This is publicly traded equities. So I wonder about that. So clearly, yes, there was foreknowledge. By the way, there was a team, this is according to the FBI, by the way, this is the FBI saying, there was a team of clearly intel-connected foreigners who were arrested after 9/11, as you well know, videotaping the terror attacks. This is, I'm almost verbatim quoting from the FBI assessment of this. And the FBI determined that they apparently had foreknowledge of the attacks. So why can't we know more about that? Exactly. Shut up. That's bigoted. No, this is my country, actually. I know people who died on 9/11. Everything was changed because of it. I promptly went off to the Middle East, just like everyone else in our business. I'm sure you did as well. And then we lost our civil liberties at home. We immediately started torturing people and locking up people for years. They are still locked up in Guantanamo Bay with no charges at all. And the rest of us, very much me included, nodded our heads and are like, yeah, they're bad. They're Muslim terrorists. Now, I think a lot of them were bad, and they were Muslim terrorists. On the other hand, if your government is allowed to torture people and lock them up indefinitely without charging them, how long before they do that to you? We don't do that here. And I know it's very common in the UK now, which is an authoritarian country. We don't want that here. And 9/11 dramatically changed our assumptions about what the government is allowed to do. So, and by the way, I should say, the main beneficiary in the United States of those attacks was the CIA, which allowed them to happen. So the CIA budget became, more than doubled. Of course, we're not allowed to know what the CIA budget is, even in government. This is a fact, by the way. If you ask a high-level official at the White House currently, what's the CIA's full budget? They can't tell you. It is a secret that is so closely guarded that even people in charge of administering the government don't know what their budget is. But from what we can tell, it's more than twice what it was before 9/11.
Okay, but what you're suggesting with your phraseology about that is that the CIA were part of a kind of inside track knowledge about what may happen, which is obviously an incredibly serious
charge. No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm not suggesting that. I'm stating the facts, which are that the CIA was fully aware that many of these hijackers were here, that those visas were issued in a country with which we have very close security service cooperation at a time when John Brennan was running the station there.
But that's different to saying that they knew what was going to happen.
Well, they actually did know that these people were planning a terror attack because they surveilled a meeting planning it in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, a year before, and then followed the guy as he came to the United States and arrived in San Diego for flight training. So, again, I'm not guessing about any of this. These are established facts. There's no person, including then CIA Director George Tenet, who would deny this. They'll say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Okay, fine, whatever. Attack my character as you will. But tell me how I'm wrong. And, of course, I'm not wrong. So I'm not alleging or suggesting anything.
I'm not saying you're right or wrong or anything. All I'm saying is that from everything you're saying, it is a leap. It is a leap. There is a demonstrable difference, I would argue, and by all means push back on this, but I would argue that there's a demonstrable leap between knowledge of bad people moving around and maybe monitoring them and aware they may be up to bad things, but actually having coherent, clear knowledge in advance that they were planning the attack using planes on the World Trade Center.
I understand. I understand. You're saying that intent matters, and I would not. Of course, I would not dispute that. Intent does matter. It matters under the law, and it matters morally. Did you mean to do it? Yes, that matters. However, it doesn't matter as much as we pretend that it does. If I pull up to a casino and leave my toddler in the back of the car with the windows up and just kind of forget, and the kid dies, do you say, "Oh, you didn't mean to kill your own child"? No, you'd say, "Through your negligence, your child died."
Yes.
It's murder. Now, it's not a first-degree murder, but it's certainly at least a manslaughter.
That is facts. That is facts. And Tucker is refuting Pierce's little points easily.
It's severe negligence. I agree with that. I do, and I agree. I agree with you.
That is a kind of murder.
Yeah, listen. I don't think there's any doubt that there was massive negligence when it came to 9/11 happening on the watch of whoever was running the U.S. government at the time, the CIA, the FBI, all of them. No one can credibly say that what happened was not a catastrophic failure of intelligence, because I've always assumed there must be some guys at the Pentagon in a room whose only job it is to think the unthinkable. And it's not that difficult to think that one day somebody may hijack a plane and use it as a weapon, right? It's not that. Yes. When you've got fundamentalists prepared to kill themselves as they kill people, doing it using a plane did not seem to me to be that unthinkable. And yet nobody seemed to have thought that through.
Well, the U.S. government had war gamed that. Of course. Look, I mean, that was, of course, a possibility in the minds of the people whose job it is to protect the United States from it happening. They war gamed that. They took bin Laden very seriously. We interviewed members of the bin Laden station, CIA bin Laden station, who I think are patriotic, decent people who really wanted to prevent a terror attack. But there are also elements of the CIA which does not act as, a coherent body. It's a vast, sprawling organization.
Zero cool. He went out and the camera wasn't on either, but I went ahead and brung him up real quick just so you can see how scared he was. This is funny. Come on up, Zero Cool. Make sure your camera's on. You're on now, but your camera has to be on. Turn your camera on now. 30 seconds to turn your camera on. Let's go. We live. You said you wanted to debate. You said you wanted to fight me. You are currently on air now, but your camera has to be on. If it's not on in 30 seconds, you are banished. I didn't even banish him, so you're just playing games. I think it's a troll. We're going to move on. Let me go ahead and remove that link. Let me go ahead and disable that link. And I'm also going to remove the link as well. Going to do both because the person is just coming up and playing games. Look, came up again, playing games. Doesn't want to have the camera on, doesn't want to speak. So, yeah, let's go ahead and disable that link. And you are now banned, Zero Cool, because you are just a troll. All right, 1 second here. Dork. Freaking dorks. Why is it like this? Why is it small? There we go. Let me go ahead and delete that link. All right, so that link is no longer available. He can't use that link anyway. So we can just leave that link in the chat. It's unusable anyway, so we're good. Let's continue on with the show.
There's not a single person at CIA who understands everything that's happening at CIA at any given time because it's compartmentalized. That's the nature of it. And so but there were people at CIA, and I would say John Brennan clearly one of them, who understood that these terrorists, these hijackers, planned to commit violence against Americans in the United States, and they did nothing about it. Now, you can draw your own conclusions about that. In fact, they abetted it. They helped the hijackers get here. Fact. And so you can argue...
That is fact. What Tucker Carlson is speaking about right now with the CIA involvement in regards to, of 9/11, also... Israel involvement in that in a way, maybe in an indirect way. He's going to speak about that if he already has, and I think he mentioned it already. But yeah, he's speaking facts right now. You can just Google this. The CIA actually admitted to all of this. That they had foreknowledge of the attack. They had foreknowledge of the attack already. Osama bin Laden, he was part of the CIA. Think about that. Think about Osama bin Laden. He worked for the CIA. He was a millionaire. He had property in LA. Osama. Right? Or was it Hussam Hussein? Hudam Hussein, whatever the name is. It was one of them, man. One of them, I think it was bin Laden. One of them, one of the two, part of CIA, had property, was worth over $1 million, had property in LA, was worth over $1 million, and was literally worked for the CIA. And those are one of the, people, individuals that was, part of 9/11 terrorist attack. Was it really a terrorist attack, like Tucker is saying, or was it something else? Let's continue on.
About why, but the truth is it's incumbent on them to tell us why. We had a fake investigation. George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, Condoleezza Rice, Philip Zelikow participated in hiding the truth from the public. Again, I voted for them. It's not a partisan point. That is a fact. We know it now. And why isn't there an actual 9/11 commission dedicated to finding out what happened? And the truth is, not only is there not, but even right now, as we speak, the CIA is effectively refusing to release information that they have from 24 years ago. And why? What is the answer? I don't know, but they should be forced at gunpoint to divulge this. Because it reminds me,
it reminds me of the JFK files, of the RFK files, of the Martin Luther King files, of the Epstein files. Time and again, we are led to believe we're all going to find out exactly what went on, and then we don't. So that there is clearly behind the scenes, at high levels of the government machinery, a concerted effort, and there has been for many, many decades, to prevent the American people and the wider world, but the American people, I think, from knowing the full story about any of those things. Today's show is brought to you by Oxford Natural, makers of the Optimum Day and Optimum Night all-natural supplements. Thousands of Brits and Americans are already taking them with incredible results. Optimum Day is designed to boost your energy and support weight loss throughout the day. Optimum Night helps you relax and get deep, refreshing sleep. And don't just take their word for it. Here are just a few of their success stories. England football legend Michael Owen. And here's the
subject of a bunch of federal laws passed by Congress that demand disclosure. The current president, on January 23rd, issued an executive order saying release it all, and they haven't. So why is that? Is it to protect the CIA, actually? Who was the CIA director in 1963? John McCone. How many people know that? How many people care? Nobody. So is it to really protect an agency, 60 odd years later? I don't think it is. Or maybe it is. I don't know. All I know, and this is a statement of fact, that they are not releasing relevant information that pertains to that event. That's like the murder of a sitting U.S. president.
Yeah.
And by the way, a whole lot of other things. I mean, the UAP, you could just go on forever. And the cumulative effect, it bears on what you said in your smart intro, I think, is that at a certain point, people understand it's not a democracy, that people do not rule. They actually have no relevant input into how the government operates. It's not operating for their benefit. And they either become one of two things: cynical and resigned, non-participatory, I give up, give me some fentanyl, or they become revolutionary. And both are really bad. Both make a stable future impossible. And so the only remedy is disclosure. And I have to say, at this point, because they've been so resistant to it, I don't know why we have a CIA. It's the most important significant player in global affairs. It's not controlled by anybody. It's not democratically controlled. Again, we don't know the budget. And that fact alone prevents this country from being a real place. So why do we have it? We need intel gathering, of course. You need some sort of probably paramilitary force, I guess. You could have that. We have a DOD. Why is it run out of CIA? Why does that still exist? And no one is willing to answer that question because they're afraid. And the truth is, if the president of the United States is murdered and everyone believes that the CIA played a role in it, probably lots of players there, but CIA was clearly one of them, the Counterintel Division clearly played a role and lied about it, then every subsequent U.S. president lives with that hanging over his head.
Well, also,
there are boundaries, there are guardrails, you cross over them and you could get killed.
Right. I mean, we've had with Donald Trump, there were 2 attempts on his life in the run-up to the last election.
That's correct.
One was this young kid who appeared to have absolutely...
And this interview was done before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So just imagine what this interview would have been like, after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, because, yeah, man.
Nothing on his files whatsoever. We seem to know nothing about this person. He just somehow existed in a total vacuum of any information. And the second guy, a few weeks later, was able to sit in a bush for 12 hours preparing to assassinate Donald Trump if he'd walked up about 500 yards up a golf course to where he was waiting by one of the greens. And I found that deeply unsettling, because you would have thought that Trump by then would be the most protected human being in history, having just survived an assassination attempt. Both of those cases raise all sorts of questions which we just don't know the answers to. And that's happened in the last year.
I don't know, and I can't say this definitively, but my strong impression is that, people at the top levels of government don't know the answers, right? So that,
including Donald Trump,
paints a pretty. I think that's right, but I don't know. But the picture that emerges is very clear, and everyone can see it, which is a government that is not controlled by the voters or even the people the voters elect to control the government. It's controlled independently by the people who staff it and other aligned interests, not all of them American. So that is not a picture of democracy or even of oligarchy. It's a picture of something much darker than that. And people who point it out are roundly attacked and criticized, and their children are attacked. I mean, anyone who's done this knows the consequences of doing it, but it doesn't make it any less true, actually. You can attack me all you want, don't really care. Why don't you answer the question, how does this work? And why can't I know? And if I can't know, who has greater authority than I do as a taxpayer and a citizen? What you're really revealing is that the system itself is utterly fake. Okay, I guess everyone knows that now, but what are the consequences of knowing that? The consequences of knowing that are dire and scary. And so I think at this very late date, we should try to fix it. And the only way to fix it is by telling people the truth and reading them in, as they say in Washington. Read me in to what my government is doing with my money in my name. And if you won't do that, then at a certain point, how is it not justified to try to replace the government? That actually is tyranny. What's the other definition of tyranny? I don't, so they're really playing with fire. I don't want revolution. I can't stand violence. Civil war is the worst thing that could ever happen. I'm not calling for any of that. I'm merely saying that's going to happen at some point if they don't make good on the core promise, which is it's your country. It exists for your benefit. You have a right to know relevant things. You can't just be dismissed with the back of the hand and called names. Keep that shit up, and it will get really ugly. That's my
in your series. Do you dispel some of the sort of madder conspiracy theories? And I'll give an example, which you may or may not agree with me as mad, but there's been a raging conspiracy theory ignited again by what's happened in Gaza, that Israel was somehow implicated in 9/11. It was in their interests for that to happen, because then it would lead rage against all their enemies in the Middle East and so on. And yet, of course, if you look at the people who died, at least I think 110 or more people who died that day were known to be Jewish. It is estimated maybe another 80 were Jewish, which meant that about 10% of all the victims that day were likely to have been Jewish, which would seem to dispel the suggestion this was some Jewish thing that they had been involved with. But do you tackle that kind of conspiracy theory in the series? In other words, as well as exploring stuff that you think needs to be highlighted and exposed and we need to know more about, do you also dispel stuff which has been allowed to rage around for nearly 25 years now and kill that off?
pause it there. Look at Pierce's question, right? He says, do you dispel the stuff, the Israel conspiracy? So he's positioning the question in a way to put Tucker in a precarious situation and pretty much put him in a corner, box him in a corner. So, because if he says that he didn't dispel any of the Israel conspiracies, then are you anti-Semitic? You know, I think that's Pierce's angle on how he's positioning this question. Now, the thing is, how can you be anti-Semitic when all of this is theories, right? All of these are theories. Some of them are facts. We have actual facts as far as CIA being involved and other facts and stuff like that. But a lot of them are essentially theories. So you're not anti-Semitic if you have an Israel theory, right? So I hope Tucker points that out as well, or sees what, Pierce is doing. But I think he will. Tucker's pretty smart.
Well, it hasn't so much been allowed. It's actually been greatly discouraged. I don't repeat every theory about it. They're endless, and I don't really see the point in elevating things that we can't know are true. I would say the effect on me was to make me more suspicious, actually. And again, we didn't interview people who gather their information about 9/11 from the internet. We interviewed only people who are directly involved in the events and the subsequent events. So government officials. So it was almost exclusively government officials. And during the course of that experience, I became more prone to believe that this is really, really bad. This is super bad. And as to the question that you asked specifically about Israel, no, of course I didn't allege that, the Jews did it. I don't even know what that means. I think, in fact, saying things like that is a way to discredit real questions.
Right.
Like Benjamin Netanyahu on camera right after said this is a good thing because it brings the United States into a conflict that we've been involved in on an existential level for decades. He said that out loud. I'm not guessing, you can pull the tape. We know that a group of Israeli art students, who clearly were not art students, clearly some of them were aligned with Israeli intelligence, were arrested and held for quite some time in the United States before being released without charges. And we know that a group of them, again, I'm quoting.
Good job, Tucker. So Tucker positioned his answer properly where he's bringing up facts. He brings up Netanyahu said something like, well, it's a good thing that America is now involved in the war in the Middle East because we've been dealing with this for a while and we can use America's help, right? It's a good thing that America is involved in it now. And then there were a few Jewish people that was arrested. That's what Tucker Carlson is saying now. So yeah, that's a good way of answering it. Tucker is slick, man. Tucker is, Pierce is slick, but Tucker, he coming correct on this one. I like this answer.
An FBI document here, not the internet, filmed the attacks on 9/11, and I'm quoting, seemed to have foreknowledge of those attacks. Now, you were not allowed to follow up in any of this. Fox News did a series with Britt Hume and Carl Cameron, which many people have seen in a bootleg version on the internet, but they did it within weeks, saying, what is this? There was an Israeli spy ring in the United States, and they clearly knew 9/11 was coming. This is Fox News. They pulled that under pressure. They pulled that off the internet. It's not searchable in any Fox News archive, but they aired it. I know the people who did it. Of course, I worked with them for years. They're real people. They're not crazy. In fact, they're pro-Israel, but they had a fact set before them, and they reported it, which is called journalism, and subsequent generations have been forbidden from noting what is now factually true. Those are factually true statements. Now, we tried to interview some of those people. One lives in the United States, in California, and made no headway whatsoever. And we knew as we did it, by the way, that we're going to be attacked as anti-Semites or something.
Hello and welcome. Virtual definitive also is.
Obviously, I'm not even anti-Israel on some principled level. I'm an American, and I think it's not only fair, but my moral obligation to find out what the hell was this. And you're calling me names is not going to stop me because I've been here my whole life, and my family's been here a long time. I don't have to take orders from you about what I'm allowed to know or not know because it's my country. That's the kind of democratic spirit that informed this country my entire life until 9/11, after which it became a thought crime to ask obvious questions. And I'm just not going to play along, period.
Where do you think we are, Tucker, with the various things that have happened since you and I last spoke in Riyadh, actually, for a really interesting double-header chat? But in particular, what happened with Iran, where Donald Trump decided to attack Iran. What did you feel about that? Given that it ended so apparently quickly, do you think Trump was vindicated in his short, sharp strategy there by bombing Iran? Or do you think that this will come back and haunt him down the line?
Well, of course I can't say. I mean, my life is a kind of unbroken chain of bad predictions and embarrassing analysis, and I've been wrong so many times, and I will be in the future without question. However, it's just a fact that, events have...
Tucker's good because the thing is, even in interviews and in debates and stuff like that, he'll go ahead and, point out the fact that he's human. Like, I've been wrong before and, stuff like that. So I don't have all, the answers and stuff. So I'll probably be wrong again. But however, it is a fact. Tucker is funny. He like, yeah, man, I've been wrong before, but right now I'm giving you facts, homie.
Consequences that we can't foresee, often for years or generations. And I think it's very unwise to use military force without a clear, achievable objective that serves the American national interest. In fact, it's not allowed to use it under any other circumstances. And in that case, I was concerned and remain concerned that this focus on Iran is not actually connected to our national security. How many Shiite terror attacks have there been in the United States in my lifetime? Let me do the math. 0.
That is facts. Why are we worried about Iran? How many attacks has it been in America? Has Iran ever attacked us? Iran, did they ever attack us? No, never. Why are we fighting these wars in the Middle East? For what? You can say oil. You say all of these things. Well, listen, man. It's for resources and stuff like that. Listen, man, we got a good companies out here that's pretty good in fracking. We got a lot of oil right here in America. But at the end of the day, man, it's, fighting these wars, losing people and killing other people for resources. We can say that, that's how the world always was, right? Fighting over resources. But we don't truly need to if it's no true benefit to be in those wars and for us to lose American soldiers and, kill the innocent over there. It's pointless. It's immoral.
So don't tell me that the greatest threat we face is Iran. That's a lie. You're telling it on behalf of a foreign power. Maybe they feel the greatest threat they face is Iran. It's not the greatest threat we face. It's not an endorsement of Iran, okay? Doesn't make me a simp for the Shiites. It just makes me an American who's trying to think clearly about what our problems are. And our problems would include tens of millions of foreign nationals living illegally in my country. Nobody knows their identities. They would include a collapsing economy that makes it very hard for my children to have children and live the life that they grew up with and their friends and all American kids. It would include a drug crisis that's killed millions of Americans.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It makes no sense why, we get ourselves involved in some of these wars that truly don't benefit us, especially the wars in the Middle East. It didn't benefit us. Meanwhile, we have many cities out here Chicago is horrible. Newark, New Jersey is horrible. So many areas, even Atlantic City in New Jersey is trash. It doesn't look good at all. There's so many areas and cities in America why are we going in war and investing all of this money into these proxy wars, into these foreign wars that is really not benefiting the American people, and that's where our tax dollars is going. It would benefit us if we actually used our tax dollars to fix our roads, to get better schools, better education, and, the list goes on, right? Like, why are we in all of these foreign wars? And for who? Who are we in all of these foreign wars for? Maybe one could look at one, see, why we're in certain foreign wars. I pretty know that you guys know the cha-ching people is why we're in a lot of these wars, but it doesn't benefit us. And even when we're voting and we're putting people in position of power, these NGOs, AIPAC, and all of these donors, those are the real reasons why these, political heads are in power anyway, because they're being funded with a whole lot of money. And we keep finding ourselves in these wars. It truly makes no sense. And then we'll have political debates like, yo, this town needs to be better. The left needs to invest into this and the right needs to invest into that. The Republicans always speak about how bad Cali is and all of this other stuff. The Democrats always speak about how, our states are, whatever it may be, right? It's like, yeah, but what's true and what stays consistent is no matter which party is in power, we keep finding ourselves in these wars. It's ironic, right? We have all of these political differences, but for some reason, no matter what party is in office, we find ourselves in the same wars in the same area in the Middle East. Why? It's weird. What's going on? So we disagree on everything else, but we agree on that? That doesn't even make any sense. Doesn't make sense.
Over the past millions of Americans over the last 20 years, Iran is not even in the top 10 list. So you can scream at me all you want and call me names and call me a bigot or whatever, but there's no evidence to support that. And so if the energy of the U.S. government is focused on a threat that's not the primary threat to us, it is by definition ignoring threats that are. And that's a kind of negligence. And so I pointed that out. I was, roundly attacked. My family was attacked. Whatever. I don't care. It's true. And everyone kind of knows it's true. And being bullied by Ben Shapiro into pretending that it's not true, it's just not on the program for me at 56. I'm just not doing that anymore.
President Trump told reporters at the time that you had called him and apologized after you disagreed with the Israeli strikes on Iran. Is that true?
I am a champion apologizer. I really believe in apologies. I have a lot to apologize for. I always have. We all do. I certainly do. But I also think that, you shouldn't proffer a false apology. You should apologize for things that you did wrong. And I didn't do anything wrong there. And
Yo, Tucker, I don't know if y'all catch this, but Tucker is an expert, bro. He's an expert at answering questions. This is not me. What do they call it now? What do the young boys call it when you're giving someone their props? Glazing. This is not me glazing Tucker. Not at all, right? But he's an expert because since I'm in this space where I'm debating people and I got some interviews that I'm going to be on soon that you guys are going to see. You have to be I'm in the stage of being, and I've been in this stage of observing, my opponents and then the people that share my same political views and stuff like that. And he is an expert at answering these questions. He asked him a question. He says, well, and he says, but it was answered perfectly.
I wasn't attacking anybody. I wasn't attacking Israel. I wasn't attacking. I was merely saying, in my capacity as someone with strong opinions, I think this is an unwise course, and I still
think about the strategy. Well, did you apologize to Trump? I'm the type of person that I apologize when I do things wrong. I apologize. I think that is good to apologize, to make an apology and to self-reflect and let the other person know that, that you're sorry for this. But I didn't do anything wrong. So this I didn't apologize for. Then he goes to explain why he didn't apologize. That was good. You gotta say it was good. Come on, chat. This was good.
Think that. It's not an attack on Trump, who I voted for and campaigned for and really like. It's my view. And so that's not something I would apologize for because it wasn't wrong. It was my duty and I still believe it. So yeah.
that seems to be a clear repudiation of what he said, that you did not call him to apologize.
No, it's not that. It's just that, look, I said what I said, which wasn't, very...
Yo, next debate night, today is Wednesday. The next debate night, I'll probably host one. Since we're doing a stream, we didn't do a stream yesterday. So we did the last stream before today was Sunday. So we did Sunday, Wednesday. I'll probably host another debate night this weekend. So either I'll speak to some of the mods. I'll speak to some of the members. We could probably get one in maybe even Friday. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be busy. But Friday, possibly Friday. I know Sunday for sure. Sunday we streaming. It's going to be open debate night. But I do want to get another one in possibly before Sunday. So maybe Friday, y'all. Maybe Friday. Lucky Jack. All right, let's continue on.
Complex or sophisticated. It certainly wasn't hate-filled. I don't think this is a wise course. I would never apologize for that because I believe it. You know, I will just be totally honest with you and say I'm kind of an unpleasant person when I get mad. And like if I'm ever rude, which I often have been to people, that is worth apologizing for. And I'm sorry. I want to preemptively apologize for being a jerk because I often am. So I would definitely apologize that. To answer your question, I don't really remember the conversation, but whatever.
Could it have been, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but could it have been?
Like, listen, man, I'm definitely taking that strategy of Tucker Carlson answering questions. I'm going to be interviewed. Y'all going to see me on one of these interviews. I got a few coming up within the next few months. I'm definitely taking that strategy. I'm like, so, Cooley, you know, on your podcast, you speak about strippers and single moms all the time, but, you know, this and the third, they're going to, you know, bring up some stuff that I said, oh, you said this before on your ex account or on Facebook. I seen this post. They're going to bring it up. And I'm like, well, you know what? You know, strippers need love too. Like, you know, they work hard and, you know, it's physical labor that they put in, and sliding down a pole, they got to climb up. It's, you know, hard to do. Women aren't as strong as men. So it's not that, you know, I'm like against strippers, but they have no place around me. And I'll just go ahead and get into it. Yo, that strategy is actually funny and it works good, especially for like the liberal mindset, right? Like you could just, the funny thing is you could be very direct and answer the question, which he is answering the question direct, but he's first like soften it up to just kill it. Like first he puts on like a pillow around his fist and kind of like, oh, taps you and then takes the pillow off. Boom. So yeah, I'm taking that strategy, Tucker. Thank you very much.
You apologize perhaps for the tone of the way you had criticized what Trump had done, rather than apologize for your view of what he did.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea being as honest as I can be, I have no idea if I actually did that, but if I haven't done that, let me do it now. I apologize to him and everyone else I've snapped at or been mean to, even poor Ted Cruz, who, you know, I don't think is the most evil, and he's just controlled by a foreign power. I feel sorry for him. He's like kind of desperate and wants money or whatever his motive is, but I was rude to him, and I'm sorry. I'm just that way. People in my family have pointed that out. When I get mad, I get snappy and cutting. I went to boarding school as a kid. They inculcate that in you, the cruelty of the dorm. And
we gotta move this on a little bit
about who's a terrorist and who's not a terrorist.
Let's go here.
Killing people.
When the Israeli government says it has repeatedly that even though over 20,000 completely innocent children are believed to have died in their response to what Hamas did on October the 7th at the hands of the IDF, there are many on the pro-Palestinian side who say that Israel is behaving like terrorists too in the way that they have gone about conducting this war. Would you go as far as to say that?
One of the things that I really object to now is this relentless focus on Israel, which, by the way, is a foreign country that I have nothing to do with other than having been a visitor there and really enjoyed it. And it's now at the center of the conversation in my country when my country is degrading at high speed. We have a lot of concerns here. I just resent the kind of solipsism that pulls everything back to the concerns of a foreign country. And that's the litmus test for everything. Well, is Israel bad? How dare you say that? Are you going to go out on a limb and criticize Israel? What about my country? Every country commits terror because leaders, drunk on hubris, imagine that they can do things that no human being is permitted to do. And first on that list is killing people who didn't do anything wrong. That is the ultimate sin. And it happens in every country, in every period, of course, Israel meets that definition. I mean, obviously, but so does my government. And not always. And I think we try harder. Certainly, we try harder than Israel is trying. But we have definitely done that. And it's not controversial to say that. It's not controversial to say that things the U.S. government has done have intentionally murdered people who didn't do anything wrong. People are like, yeah, that's right. But you say that about Benjamin Netanyahu, who has nothing to do with me at all. I don't live there. I don't want to live there. I've got nothing to do with that. Then you're somehow a criminal. That whole frame to me is insane, and I'm not participating with it. Israel is not the litmus test. How you feel about your own country, what you do to improve or degrade your own country, that's the litmus test for me. Not how you feel about some foreign country, period.
Well, let me talk about my country for a moment, because again, when we had our doubleheader in Riyadh, you talked pretty scathingly about the UK, and I put up I think a pretty good fist of a defence. But something happened last week that made me think, my God, Tucker was probably right. And I'll tell you what it was, the tipping point for me. And there's been a lot of this going on. But when a comedian called Graham Linehan returns to the UK.
All right, chat, we're going to go ahead and end it there. I think you guys got that debate. Tucker was spitting heavy as far as debunking some of the claims and the things that Piers would push forth in regards to American citizens not caring about these foreign wars and thinking that we shouldn't be funding these foreign wars. And if we aren't, for Israel, this doesn't mean that we are against them. I'm not for Brazil. I'm not for, these other countries that has things going on. I don't care about these things. Those are their wars. Those are their problems. I'm worried about the things that we have going on in America. And I think that he explained things very well. I hope you guys got some education from listening to that and got a different perspective on things, even with the whole 9/11 stuff, even with the whole 9/11 take as well. But other than that, man, I gave y'all a good 2.5 hour stream. This podcast is No Fugazee. I appreciate everyone that supported the show. We will be live again here, definitely this Sunday for sure. But if not, most likely Friday for open panel debate night. Going to speak to some of the members and got to come up with going to do a strategy where we can get more people involved in the open panel debate. But I know you guys love that. So most likely Friday, we'll do another open panel debate night. But once again, just subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click that bell icon so you're notified of when I go live next, because sometimes things change, right? Sometimes things change like that. So if you want to stay up to date, I always throw a thumbnail and I schedule it. So just keep that bell icon on so you get the notification that pops up on your phone when I'm about to go live. And you'll get that notification 30 minutes before I go live. So it's good that you click that bell icon so you all are notified of when I do go live. Other than that, man, this podcast is No Fugazi, man. I appreciate all of you guys for coming in, for supporting all of the mods in here. And, another update. The next girl panel, full girl show, is going to be next Saturday. That's going to take place at 8 p.m. next Saturday. That's going to be a good one. So stay tuned for that. So until the next girl show, we got debate nights. We got reactions, more debate nights, and more reactions. I may have a 1v1 debate from another Jubilee debater next week. I'll keep you guys up to date, and I'll also speak to the members about that as well, too. But I may have another 1v1 debate next week on Thursday, so you guys may see a thumbnail for that. But other than that, man, I appreciate all of you guys for supporting, and peace. We out, man.
No Fugazi. Fugazi.
And y'all see the suit too, man. Listen, new studio, new podcast by the spirit, not by the letter. Bro, we can go verse for verse all day long. Doing new things are okay with understanding the reality that we are in competition with one another. But you ladies think that you're special. You are in comfort. Men are men of their word. So here's my word. I'll fly you out here and we can do it in person. And after that, we can box. I'm about my business. So remember, I said, when I ask you these questions, I will dismantle your entire argument. That's the end of the debate, my dog.
I'm 39, but I don't look your typical 39.
Belly.
Yeah.
You look 39. It's okay, though. That man isn't intimidated by a woman like you. He's annoyed by a woman.